こ見てみたい一千億の光よりマットスケから君はマットスケから見せな
Hello everyone, my name is Serafi. I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be covering every Duel Links character's modern ace monster. What does that mean? Well, it means that cards that have not been printed yet, or cards that may be in Duel Links, which represent the pinnacle of the archetype as it stands right now in June of 2026. So, I look at data, I look at the existing archetypes, and I determine what one monster is the most important boss monster for a given archetype or deck. Now, I do say every Duel Links character in the title, but of course, that requires the character actually have a deck. So characters like Taya, for example, are not included in this list. And then there's also no rush characters. The Yuga in the image is a lie. I have lied to you, because I can. Anyway, before I get started, this video was a lot of work. It took me 3 days. I hate video. I hate image editing. I hate image editing more than anything else. Image and video editing are the worst parts of this job. So, I had to make 82 slides for this video, and that took ages. So if you appreciate the work that went into this video, please consider liking the video, comments, subscribe, become a member if you haven't already. And then thank you very much to my existing members, Stene, the Tanky Crowbar, Trauma, Heftis, He Dead, and Elizabeth. Alright, let's get started. Coming in at number 1, we have Atem. Atem's ace monster at present is Dark Magician of Destruction. Dark Magician of Destruction is actually a fantastic boss monster that was printed, I believe, last year, and it is by far the most versatile card that we've gotten in a long time. This card sees play in everything. Azamina, Dark Magician, Shining Sarcophagus, any deck that can summon a spellcaster, which every deck that plays Diabellstar the Black Witch can, allows you to then go into this card, which allows you to go into Dragoon, which is insane. So, Dark Magician of Destruction is a level 8 Dark Spellcaster monster. It is a fusion of Dark Magician and one Light or Dark monster. If you are wondering why this card is level 8, it is so that it can serve as the entire tribute for Magician of Black Chaos Max, which was the card that I assumed was going to be his ace monster. However, to my surprise, even though that card is insane, it is currently only seen play in about 60% of Dark Magician lists at tournaments. So, fair enough. I trust the data. Dark Magician of Destruction must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck during the turn a spell card or a spell effect is activated. Either player, not just you. By banishing a level 6 or higher Dark Spellcaster monster you control as the material. You can only special summon Dark Magician of Destruction once per turn this way, no matter what method you use, and this card's name becomes Dark Magician while it is on the field or in the graveyard. If this card is special summoned, you can add one Dark Magician or one card that mentions Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. So, Dark Magician of Destruction is very similar to Magician's Rod, except for the fact that it can also add monster cards that mention Dark Magician, which means it can search both Magician's Rod and Magician's Soul, giving you either a normal summon or the ability to summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your deck, in addition to searching cards like the Soul card, Soul Servant, or Gaze of Timaeus. And then once you link Dark Magician of Destruction off and it's in your graveyard, then you can activate Gaze of Timaeus, which allows you to target the Dark Magician of Destruction in your graveyard, return it to your extra deck, and summon Dragoon for 2 turns, which gives you an Omni Negate. So it's a very simple, card in your extra deck. Two cards in your extra deck with the Dark Magician of the Destruction and the Dragoon, and then the one card in your main deck being the Gaze of Timaeus. That allows basically any deck to access an Omni Negate if they want to, but in Dark Magician it's also extremely good and has made the deck actually playable. Great. Okay, next up for Seto Kaiba, we have Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. I would like take a moment to pause and say that, of course, the card that is the character's ace monster must actually be part of their archetype. So, while you could argue that Primite Ether Barrel is a very good card in Blue Eyes that enables them by giving them an Omni Negate that is recursive, it is not a Blue Eyes card and just happens to be very synergistic with the deck, so this would not be one of his cards. Alright, But Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon is a level 12 light dragon synchro monster. It requires 2 or more tuners plus 1 non-tuner Blue Eyes monster. So you would need, typically how you can synchro summon this card if you want to, is you need to play Neo Kaiser Seahorse, which is a level 4 tuner, and one of your level 1 tuners, like for example, Maiden with Eyes of Blue, or Maiden of White, or Sage with Eyes of Blue. And then you can use Kaiser Seahorse's effect to lower its own level by 1, so then you have a level 3 tuner, a level 1 tuner, and a level 8. That's how you can synchro summon it, but typically you don't. Typically you just summon this card off of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon's effect. 3,500 attack points, 4,000 defense points. Your opponent cannot banish cards from your graveyard. This is extremely important. After Bestials came out, light and dark decks suffered a lot because Bestials were designed to counter them by banishing all their cards from the graveyard. And Konami does not like Blue Eyes being bad. So, they gave them the ability to just simply stop the opponent from banishing cards from the graveyard with a floodgate. Now, also, you can chain this card to Called by the Grave, so that your opponent, if they try to stop one of your hand traps or one of your important interruptions, you can simply chain Spirit to go into Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit, and then by the time the Called by the Grave would respond, your opponent is floodgated from banishing your cards from your graveyard, so the card just fizzles. Very, very strong card. You can only use each of the following effects of Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon once per turn. When a card or effect is activated on the field, as a quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, this card gains 1,000 attack points until the end of the turn. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 light dragon monster from your graveyard, except Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. So this card has a Omni Negate, only on the field. It does not destroy the card, but it's very useful. Then it gains 1,000 attack points, so it will have 4,500 attack points, like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And lastly, if it is destroyed somehow, then it floats into another card, usually Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon itself, which, it's important to note, is not able to then tribute itself again, because you can only tribute Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon if it was synchro summoned. Really cool card. Now, obviously, it can float if Spirit Dragon's destruction effect would destroy it. But the other thing that could potentially stop it is if you play Stardust Seifer Dragon, which says the first time each of your monsters will be destroyed by battle or card effect each turn is not destroyed. So you summon Ultimate Spirit Dragon and Seifer through 2 Blue Eye Spirit Dragon's effects and Crimson Dragon on your own turn and your turn, and then Seifer protects against the Spirit Dragon destruction. Then you pass to your opponent's turn, and now you don't have to worry about them being destroyed by the effect of Spirit Dragon, so you can use the protection on your opponent's destruction effects. It's a very difficult board to out. It might not seem like a lot. It is a monster negate and a Omni negate, but the protection is really good, actually. Okay, so next up is Joey Wheeler, Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. This is a level 8 Dark Machine monster. 3,400 attack and 2,400 defense. Obviously, this is a reference to when Joey used Metal Morph against Bandit Keith to summon Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. This card cannot be normal summoned or set, and must first be special summoned with the effect of Max Metal Morph that was activated by tributing a level 5 or higher dragon monster. You can reveal this card in your hand, set Metal Morph from your deck, and if you do, shuffle this card into the deck, and when your opponent activates a card or effect as a quick effect, you can negate the activation. Then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of 1 attack position monster your opponent controls. So it's an Omni Negate, but instead of destroying the card, it lets you burn your opponent based on the attack points of their monster. Very interesting card, actually, which is pretty good, considering that it's basically, if you have it in your hand, you can basically just play it as long as you have a dragon monster to tribute. Now, this card does see some play in like a dedicated Red Eyes list, but it is more often seen in a dedicated Metamorph list, which also has the Flame Swordsman, so it's still Joey's cards. I know that some people are going to be wondering where is the new Red Eyes Fusion monster that involves Dark Time Wizard. That card has not been printed yet, so it is a little bit difficult to assess its power and potential. Obviously you can theory craft, but you actually have to see how the card plays before you can really make that determination. And so I'm going to go ahead and call Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, which is actually a good card, his ace until further notice. Next up is My Valentine, and My Valentine's ace is Cyber/Harpy Lady. This is, of course, the first card that is already in Duel Links. Sorry to disappoint, but to be honest, Harpies have not gotten a whole lot of support beyond this card. This card was printed in 2020, so that's relatively recently. It's a level 8 Winged Beast Synchro monster. It requires 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. For this card's Synchro Summon, you could treat 1 Harpy monster you control as a tuner, and this card's name becomes Harpy Lady while it is on the field or in the graveyard. When a spell trap card or a spell trap effect is activated, as a quick effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls or 1 Harpy monster you control and return it to the hand. You can only use each effect of Cyber Slash Harpy Lady once per turn. So Cyber Slash actually is seeing play right now in Branded because Branded is able to make level 8 Synchro monsters, and this is a pretty decent generic level 8 Synchro monster, which combines very well with their spell card Fallen the Virtuous. But as far as dedicated Harpy decks go, yes, you can definitely play this card. Obviously, the main power of Harpies at the moment comes from their trap card, Harpies Featherstorm, which prevents your opponent from activating any monster effects for the rest of the turn. So, I don't know, it doesn't prevent them from activating. It just negates any monster effects they activate for the rest of the turn, whether they're from hand, field, graveyard, whatever. Which can be activated if you control a Winged Beast monster, and can be activated from the hand if you control a Harpy monster. Pretty good card. But it's not searchable. And, well, actually, I think Harpies can search it with the level 4. No. Harpy Oracle only searches a spell or trap that mentions Harpy Lady's Sisters, but it adds it from the graveyard, not from the deck. Okay. And then Harpy Perfumer just draws a spell trap that mentions Harpy Lady Sisters. Yeah, so Harpy's Featherstorm does not mention Harpy Lady Sisters. So yes, you cannot search this card. Additionally, if Harpy's Featherstorm is destroyed, you get to set Harpy's Feather Duster from your deck, which is also really, really good. So yeah, this card is the best card that Harpies have gotten. Harpies are not a competitive deck at the moment, but they could be with a little bit more support. We will see how that goes moving forward. Next up is Little Yugi, and Little Yugi's ace monster is Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction. So Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction, is a level 8 Dark Dragon monster. It gains 300 attack points for each card that is banished. You can only use each of the following effects of Gandora G once per turn. If you control Shining Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then you can pay half your life points to destroy as many cards on the field as possible, other than Gandora G. If you do, banish them. Then special summon 1 level 7 or lower monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from your deck, and increase its level by the number of cards destroyed by this effect, which has synergy with the Silent Magician and the Silent Swordsman that Yugi also used, which are part of the Shining Sarcophagus archetype. This is a good card. This card does see play in Shining Sarcophagus, which is essentially Yugi's archetype. That got printed basically as a retrain of Gold Sarcophagus, but as like an actual deck. Its lack of focus on the extra deck does make it kind of mediocre, but there are ways to use the new Dark Magician card to go into the extra deck in at least some capacity. And the deck is very good at going second between this card and the Archfiend's Advent, which is the retrain of Summon Skull. So this is a decent deck, and I do think it would be very good in Duel Links because the lack of an extra deck means that the main deck monsters function better in a smaller zone format than they do in like a 6-zone format. And this card would definitely be the pinnacle there. Alright, next up is Weevil Underwood, and we have Ultimate Great Insect. There's 2 options for Weevil, because Weevil really has 2 ace monsters, Ultimate Great Moth and Insect Queen, based on whether you consider his duel with Yugi or his duel with Joey to be more important. And then, clearly, Weevil considers his duel with Yugi to be more important, based on what happened in Season 4. So, with that in mind, Ultimate Great Moth got retrained as Ultimate Great Insect, which is a level 9. Level 9. Level 9 Earth Insect monster. It is a fusion monster that is a fusion of a level 8 insect monster plus a level 7 insect monster. You can only special summon Ultimate Great Insect once per turn. Must either first be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing an insect monster with 2,000 or more defense points that is equipped with an equip card, which is a clear reference to Cocoon of Evolution. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn during the battle phase, if a face-up card is in a field zone, as a quick effect, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. This is a decent option. Obviously, the battle phase is not the best time to be activating card effects, but, you know, it is something your opponent is going to have to deal with if they want to try and kill you. And then, of course, you can use this on your battle phase as well to finish breaking your opponent's board so you can go for a direct attack. This card does see play in B-Troopers and other insect pile decks. Weevil does not have his own true archetype, but this card would definitely see play in that archetype. So we will have to see if Weevil gets some new support, kind of like how Rex Raptor did. Speaking of Rex Raptor got a ton of new support printed specifically for him, and the ace monster there is Mighty Dino King Rex. This is a level 9 Earth Dinosaur monster. It has 3,200 attack points and 1,200 defense points, and its effect reads, if this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can make a second attack during this battle phase. Once per turn, if you control this card that was not summoned this turn, you can target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls and destroy them. So this card allows you to. This card can be summoned without. This card can be summoned normally, without tributes, with a continuous spell called Jurassic Power, which can also search it. Its effect is pretty interesting. It's a soft once per turn, so that does mean that you get benefit from playing multiple copies of this card. But since it can only activate the effect if it was not summoned this turn, it is not a card you can loop because it has a soft once per turn effect. Obviously, the ability to destroy 2 monsters your opponent controls is really strong, but that means that you would have had to either summon this card on your opponent's turn and let it live, or summon it on your turn and then it live for 2 turns, which is rare. This is not the best card ever, but it does function at least in a Jurassic Power dinosaur list, which so far has not materialized. The Jurassic cards that were printed for Rex have not found their place in any real dinosaur lists yet. Still, this is absolutely a retrain of Two-Headed King Rex. It is very clearly a reference for Rex Raptor, and it is his modern ace. Next up is Mako Tsunami, and Mako Tsunami's new ace monster is Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin, which is a reference to his ace monster in his duel against Yugi, Kairyu Shin. Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin is a level 5 water sea serpent with 2,000 attack points and 1,700 defense points. While Yumi is on the field, each player can only control 1 face-up non-water monster. If a player controls 2 or more monsters, they must send some to the graveyard, so they only control 1. This is a floodgate that immediately activates as soon as Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin is face up. It does not start a chain, and it cannot be responded to unless you would negate Kairyu Shin's summon entirely. So, if you have a Legendary Ocean out, you can just normal summon Kairyu Shin without tributing, and then as soon as it's on the field, if your opponent has more than 1 water monster, they have to immediately send all those monsters to the graveyard, and they can't activate any of their effects in response. So, let's say that your opponent is playing, I don't know, sharks. No, sharks are water. That would be a terrible example. Let's say they're playing Branded, and their board is Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon, Mirror Blade, the Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, Despian Quaratus, and the 3,000 attack Despian monster that's like a main deck monster, whatever it's called. You normal summon Kairyu Shin. Your opponent, before they can do anything, is forced to choose 1 monster to remain on their field. Then they send all the other monsters to the graveyard. And this is, in effect, this is them sending it. So it's not them being sent by your card effect. It is them having to send that card to the graveyard to fulfill the conditions of a floodgate that is on the field. So it would not trigger the effects of cards like Tier Limits cards, for example. So let's say that your opponent sends everything except for Masquerade to the graveyard. Then even if they have a card like, for example, the Branded in red, they could activate that card, which would allow them to return the Fallen of Albaz from their graveyard to their hand. But they would not be able to then fusion summon from their graveyard into a non-water monster banishing the Mirror Jade and then using Ad Libitum to bring it back. If they accepted the option to fusion summon, the only way they would be able to do so is by using Masquerade the Blazing Dragon as material on the field, so their number of monsters on the field does not change. That is a requirement. And they might not realize that when they first activate the card and choose to fusion summon, but after they've made the decision, they will not be able to back out of it, so they will have to get rid of their Masquerade. That's how this card works. Alright. During your main phase, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Yuumi, 1 Kairyushin Speller Trap, or 1 Sea Stealth Speller Trap. You can only use this effect of Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyushin once per turn. So it can search, a Legendary Ocean if you need it. It can search a Kairyushin Speller Trap, which there's one that searches Torrential Tribute, which is really funny, and then there's also another one that pops a bunch of non-water monsters. And then you could also get the Sea Stealth Attack or the Sea Stealth 2. Sea Stealth 2 acts as Yuumi, so that does mean that you can immediately enable your Floodgate if you don't already have it. And Sea Stealth Attack protects your monster from being destroyed by battle. So both good cards to use to keep this just constantly going. Your opponent only has one monster zone, and then you just bully them. So this is a fantastic deck. It works really well. It's really, really good, both at going first and at going second, because if your opponent does not have a way to either set the Kairyushin, tribute it, or turn it face down, then they are forced to play through this Floodgate. And if they're not playing a water deck and they're playing like an Xyz, a Synchro, or a Link deck, they will not be able to get 2 materials on the board to actually summon anything, which is fantastic for you. So once you have Kairyushin on the board, your only goal is to keep it alive, and after that, you just kill your opponent. Good card. Next up is Merrick Ishtar, and Merrick Ishtar's ace monster is the Winged Dragon of Ra. Very interesting. They have reprinted and retrains of Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Harpies, the Sacred Beasts, Stardust, Red Dragon Archfiend, Black Rose. There's nothing is sacred to Konami except specifically the Egyptian gods. They have not done any retrains of any of the Egyptian gods, unless you count the Sacred Beasts as retrains, which some people do, I guess, but they're not directly tied to each other. And you do have Immortal Phoenix and you do have Sphere Mode, which are references to the anime, but we have not gotten like a new Winged Dragon of Ra card, and so this card is definitely still the primary card played in the Winged Dragon of Ra deck. Functions just fine. Level 10 Divine Beast cannot be special summon, requires 3 tributes to normal summon, and cannot be normal set. This card's normal summon cannot be negated. When normal summoned, other cards and effects cannot be activated. And when this card is normal summoned, you can pay life points so that you only have 100 left. This card gains attack and defense points equal to the amount of life points paid, and you can pay 1,000 life points to target one monster on the field and destroy that target, which is not once per turn. Very solid option as long as you can cheat it out, which at this point, gods have several ways to cheat cards out. I could have, if I was talking about support cards rather than ace monsters, mentioned Spell Card Soul Exchange and Soul Crossing, which are 2 cards that are played in gods these days that allow you to tribute 3 monsters your opponent controls to summon your Ra, which makes Blind Second Ra an extremely good deck. And then, of course, you could also play it in Numerons, using the Numeron Crossing to summon 3 monsters from your extra deck, which you can then tribute 4 Ra to get yourself some excellent final burst damage. But for the most part, Ra is the most successful of the Egyptian gods, and there's nothing that really needs to change about it other than the fact that you have to play Ancient Chant to actually have its effect where it takes the attack points of the monster's attributes, which is fine. Ancient Chant does that job for you. Next up is Yami Bakura, and what you are seeing on the screen is actually a image from the show where Yami Bakura and Pegasus engage in a laser battle between their Millennium items. And then after this, Bakura kills Pegasus. A very wholesome show. Alright. Anyway, Yami Bakura's ace monster is the Duke of Demise. This is a card he used against Seto Kaiba. It is a fusion of 2 Fiend and or Zombie monsters. It is level 6, Dark, with 2,000 attack points and 1,700 defense points. Once per turn during your standby phase, pay 500 life points or destroy this card. The Duke of Demise cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects of the Duke of Demise once per turn. During your main phase, you can immediately, as effect resolves, normal summon any monster. Does not have to be a Fiend or a Zombie. Literally anything. You could even tribute the Duke of Demise to do so. It's a fantastic option. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one level 4 or higher fiend or zombie monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So this card is Recursion, it is Extra Extension, and it's a level 6 fiend, which is really good for several decks. It's really good for Chaos Angel, it's really good for Fiendsmith. I've played it in Cubics, just an all-around solid good card, and considering how rare Bakura's duels actually are, this is a perfect ace monster that fits him to a T. Next up is Bandit Keith, and Bandit Keith's ace monster these days is Metal Zoa X, which is part of the Metalmorph archetype that we talked about with Joey Wheeler. Metal Zoa X is a level 8 Dark Machine monster. It cannot be normal summoned or set, and must first be special summoned with Max Metalmorph. That was activated by attributing a level 5 or higher Fiend monster. You can reveal this card in your hand, set one Metalmorph trap from your deck, and if you do, shuffle this card into the deck. So this card, just like the Full Metal Dragon, allows you to put it back in the deck so that you can easily summon it from the deck with your trap cards, if you brick on it. You can only activate this effect of Metal Zoa X once per turn. And then twice per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect or a spell card or spell effect, as a quick effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So Metal Zoa X, twice per turn, can pop a monster your opponent controls, and then you can just activate your Flame Coating Metalmorph and tribute it to summon your Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon afterwards. So it's like a really good loop chain. The Metalmorph deck is really solid, coherent, and actually surprisingly small. So you can run a whole bunch of non-engine as well, and it functions reasonably fine. Great card. Next up is Ishizu. Ishizu got a bunch of support recently. They're all level 4 Earth Fairy monsters, which are retrains of cards that she played against Seto Kaiba, and all of them are broken. 2 of them are currently Limit 1, and 2 of them are banned, so, great. But we'll talk about it. So the best monster among these is Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard, which is a level 4 Earth Fairy monster. If a card is sent from the hand or the deck to the opponent's graveyard, you can target one opponent's special summon monster. Special summon this card from your hand, then return the targeted monster to the hand. So this card allows you to... if your opponent mills a card or they discard a card, in the middle of their turn 1, target one of their monsters, special summon Vanguard, and bounce it. And that will usually put an extra deck monster back into their deck and can completely ruin their strategy. So unsurprisingly, this card was considered to be way too powerful. But then it also has another effect, which is if this card is sent from the hand or the deck to the graveyard, you can send the top 5 cards of each player's deck to the graveyard. Then, if Exchange of the Spirit is in your graveyard, you can set one trap card from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard once per turn. So there were some versions of Tier Limit that played, the Exchange of the Spirit to get the extra effects, but a lot of them just didn't bother. A lot of them didn't care about the extra effects of these 4 cards with the Exchange of the Spirit. They just played the 4 cards and they used them all to mill, and then Tier Limit was insane. It was absolutely, unbelievably unstoppable. So Ishizu Tier was a meta that no one will ever forget if they played it, and Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard was definitely the key to that deck. Moving forward. Next up we have Odeon, and while I'm sure most people are expecting Man with the Mark, Man with the Mark is not actually the ace monster of that deck. Odeon did get a new series of cards for the mystical, the Temple of the Kings that he played in the anime, and the ace monster of that deck is Divine Serpent Apophis. Divine Serpent Apophis is a level 6 Earth Reptile monster that it's a fusion of 2 monsters that mention Temple of the Kings, and it must first either be fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing 2 Apophis monsters, which are the trap cards. Once per turn, you can target up to 3 Apophis traps with different names in your graveyard and set them, which is really good. So basically, on your turn 1, you activate Apophis the Serpent, and Apophis the Serpent sets Apophis the Swamp Deity from your deck, and Apophis the Serpent lets you activate Apophis the Swamp Deity that turn. You activate Apophis the Swamp Deity, you tribute them both, you summon the Divine Serpent Apophis, and then Divine Serpent Apophis just targets them both in the graveyard and sets them back face down. So you get a boss monster, while you also get the ability to just keep using those trap cards. Its other effect is, once per turn, if a trap card is activated except during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. Really, really good card. And then Man with the Mark protects it from being destroyed by battle or card effects. So yeah, overall it's a solid deck. It's a very good control deck. It sees a lot of play, especially with Argo Stars, and this card is a good option in it. Cool, moving forward. Next up is Maximilian Pegasus, and Maximilian Pegasus just got some insane support that includes a 1-card FTK. His ace monster is now Blue Eyes Toon Ultimate Dragon, which is hilarious. Blue Eyes Toon Ultimate Dragon is level 12 Light Dragon Fusion Monster. It is a Toon, and it is a fusion of Blue Eyes Toon Dragon plus 2 Toon monsters. Must be special summoned from your extra deck by shuffling the above cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck or the extra deck. So this card allows you to combine Blue Eyes Toon Dragon and 2 Toon monsters from your graveyard with no card effect. Just, you have those monsters in your graveyard. You can just say, I'm going to summon this card, shuffle them all back, and then contact fuse Blue Eyes Toon Ultimate Dragon, which is fantastic. That is basically the same thing as Phantom of Yubel, and Phantom of Yubel was broken. Your Toon monsters can attack directly. So this card allows you to have all of your Toon monsters able to attack directly, regardless of whether you control Toon World or not, which is really useful. Once per turn, soft once per turn, you can add 1 Toon card or 1 card that mentions a Toon card's name from your graveyard to your hand. And Toons, the new Toon deck is specifically designed to loop their soft once per turns, so believe me, you will be doing that more than once. During damage calculation, if your Toon monster is attacked, you can banish it until the end of the damage step, which is a reference to how all of the Toon monsters just kind of, got out of the way whenever they were attacked. So Toons actually feel like they were in the show, where they can't be affected by spells or traps because they banish themselves. They can't be attacked because they banish themselves, and you just, you're just like an unstoppable person who doesn't even bother dealing with your opponent because you can attack them directly. And yes, the deck is doing very, very well. It is currently getting quite a few tops. It was 3rd and 4th in WCS Osaka, which was a 5,000 player tournament. This is a really good deck, and I'm really looking forward to it coming to Master Rule. Next up is Para-Endox, and Para-Endox's new ace monster is Gate Guardians Combined. Gate Guardians Combined is a level 12 Dark Warrior monster, and if you ever thought, when you looked at Gate Guardian, this should be a fusion monster, don't worry, Konami understands that. So, it has 3,750 attack points and 3,400 defense points, just like the original Gate Guardian, and it is a fusion of Sangha of the Thunder, Kazajin, and Suijin. Must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard. So that's great. The new Gate Guardian deck plays these cards in your spells and trap zone, so it takes like Kazejin, Suijin, and Sangha of the Thunder and puts them in your spell and trap zone, which is actually kind of what that's really what Para-Endox did in the anime. They played those like sarcophaguses that had the 3 monsters, and none of those monsters actually did anything until they were combined together. So it fits really well. Then you just banish them all and you summon Gate Guardians Combined. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets any card you control, as a quick effect, you can negate that effect. If you do, destroy that card. You can only use this effect of Gate Guardians Combined 3 times per turn. If this face-up special summon card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 level 11 or lower Gate Guardian monster from your deck or your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So, there's Gate Guardians Wind and Water, Gate Guardians Thunder and Wind, and Gate Guardians Thunder and Water. So there's like fusions of Sangha of the Thunder and Kazajin, Sangha of the Thunder and Suijin, Kazajin and Suijin. And then there's also the actual Gate Guardian that you can summon from your deck, and Dark Guardian as well. Which, actually, I don't think Dark Guardian is considered a Gate Guardian monster. Regardless, this deck is not great. It does see, some... It's kind of slow. And Gate Guardians Combined, while it can stop targeting and can summon itself fairly easily, and can get some decent OTKs, does not have a whole lot of extra protection. It's definitely better than the existing Gate Guardian stuff, and I don't think there's going to be any more Gate Guardian support after this. But if you are a fan of Para-Endox when these cards come, I think it'll be a pretty decent Duel Links deck. Next up is Bones, and Bones' ace monster is from Maze of Muertos. It is Pump King, the Great Ghost King. This is a level 6 dark zombie monster that is an Xyz summon of 2 level 6 zombie monsters. While you control Call of the Haunted, your opponent cannot target zombie monsters you control with monster effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Pump King, the Great Ghost King once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Call of the Haunted or 1 card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. And you can detach 1 material from this card, then target up to 2 cards on the field and return them to the hand. So, all of Bones' new ace monsters all of Bones' new monsters are level 6 zombies. We got the retrain of the Phantom Fusion, the Mammoth Fusion. We got the retrain of Snake Hair, which was level 4 originally. We've got the, the retrain of Armored Zombie or Dragon Zombie. Tons of new cards. And then there's a new field spell called Call of the Forgotten that lets you grab a bunch of Call of the Haunteds and set them face down. And anytime you activate Call of the Haunted, you get to target one of your opponent's cards and send it to the graveyard. So, I mean, it's really funny. Obviously, since they're level 6 zombies, they work really well with Vendreads. The deck is definitely interesting. It's too new for me to really assess it, but this is absolutely Bones' ace monster. I don't need to know, how good the card is to know it's better than Pump King, the King of Ghosts. So, I look forward to seeing this deck, and I do think that these cards will be very interesting in Master Duel. So look forward to my video on them. Next up is Esperoba, and there is only one Jinzo card that has not been added to Duel Links yet, and that is Jinzo the Machine Menace, which I would say is probably closer to Esperoba's ace than Jinzo Layered, even though Jinzo Layered is probably the better card, just because Jinzo the Machine Menace is closer to what Esperoba actually used the card for. It's a level 7 Dark Machine monster, and it says if a trap card is face up on the field or in either graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it becomes level 6 until the end of the turn, so that you can use it to make Jinzo Layered. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon one Jinzo from your hand or graveyard, then you can destroy all traps your opponent controls. If a card is set, reveal it, and if it's a trap, you destroy it. You can only use each effect of Jinzo Machine Menace once per turn. So that is basically like the Jinzo Trap Search effect that Esperoba used against Joey, where not only can you not activate trap cards, but they actually get destroyed. Pretty good. Next up is Solomon Moto, and Solomon Moto's ace monster is the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. Exodia did get a new deck. Man, it must have been in 2024 now, I think. This is a level 10 Dark Spellcaster monster. It is a fusion of the 5 Forbidden One monsters. Cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effects. Once per turn, if this card battles during damage calculation, you can make this card gain attack equal to your life points. That does not go away. So if you have 4,000 life points and you attack, you activate this effect, then the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate now has 4,000 attack points, and then next turn, you could activate the effect again when you attack, and its attack points will go up 3,000, so it'll be at 7,000, and so on and so forth, So this card is really, really nice. It also applies when your opponent attacks into you. So, once per turn, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, you can negate that activation. So you can negate a spell or trap from your opponent, which is helpful. Since it can't be destroyed by card effects, then this basically turns off your opponent's ability to impermanent, which means that your opponent will actually have a pretty difficult time getting rid of this card. And then once per turn during the end phase, you can set one Exod or one Obliterate spell or trap from your deck, and once per turn during your standby phase, you lose 1,000 life points. So this card costs you life points to maintain, which is a reference to the Millennium World arc, where when Solomon summoned, the Unstoppable Exodia, which beat up Zork, it was draining all of his life force, which is also why your attack points, its attack points are equal to your life points at the time that it battles. Nice. As far as setting an Exod or Obliterate spell or trap from your deck, the Exod Fires of Rage trap card allows you to destroy all cards your opponent controls if you control a level 10 or higher Exodia monster. So you can just pop your opponent's entire field, and then you have a unkillable monster as well. So this card is incredibly basic and very, very good. It's very simple and easy to learn, and it is probably one of the best, most beginner-friendly modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks in existence. If you're wondering, how do you possibly fusion summon 5 Forbidden One monsters? You don't. There's a card called Millennium Ankh that you can activate that literally just says, reveal Exodia, all 5 pieces from your hand, deck, or field. And if you do, you can summon Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. It's not even once per turn, but it does lock you out of summoning for the rest of the turn after it resolves. So if your opponent negates it, then you can just play another one. And it's easily searchable, and it's, make sure that you can clean up. Pretty good. Good deck. Alright, now we're into D-Sod, and with D-Sod we have Aigami. Aigami's ace monster is Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. This is a level 10 Dark Fiend monster. It has 3,000 attack points and 0 defense points. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by revealing 3 other cubic cards in your hand with different names. Cannot be special summoned by other ways. Unaffected by other monster activated effects if their original attack points are 3,000 or less. That includes Zeus, which is very important. When this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, you can activate this effect. This card can make a second attack during this battle phase. And during your end phase, each player takes 3,000 damage. You can only use each effect of Crimson Nova the Dark Cubic Lord once per turn. This card is absolutely the ace monster of Cubic decks. Cubic decks focus entirely on looping their grave effects so they can search as many cards as possible in order to both draw this card and fulfill its summoning condition by revealing 3 other cards. And then they summon this card and then they beat people to death with it. Really good. Next up is Sarah. Sarah did not duel in DSOD, but her deck in Duel Links is Constellars, and we have not gotten the Constellar character from Arc V. I don't remember his name, it starts with a D. But since that's the case, I consider her to be the Constellar character for Duel Links. And Constellars have gotten plenty of new supports. The new ace monster for Constellars is X-Stellar Knight Constellar Ptolemy Omega 7, which is a rank 7 machine monster. It is light, and it is an Xyz summon of 3 level 7s. Once per turn during your main phase 2, you can also Xyz summon X-Stellar Knight Constellar Ptolemy Omega 7 by using 1 Stellar Knight or Constellar Xyz monster you control and transfer its materials. While you have 7 or more Stellar Knight monsters with different names in your graveyard and or banishment, this card gains 2,700 attack and defense points. Also, it is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. So that's a 5,400 attack, 5,400 defense beater that is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. That's really good. Obviously, you can still kaiju it, but I mean, if you don't have a kaiju, you're in trouble. And then, as a soft once per turn, as a quick effect, you can attach any number of materials from this card and then target that many monsters your opponent controls and shuffle them into the deck. Which is absolutely crazy. And it's important to note that if, for example, you don't have 7 monsters in your graveyard, and your opponent activates a card to destroy this card, you could then chain. And as a quick effect, detach, your Stellar Knight monsters, and if that would take you to 7, then by the time the effect resolves, you are unaffected. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty good card. I like it a lot. And I look forward to playing it. Alright, now we're into GX. And GX's first character, of course, is Jaden Yuki. Now, heroes are the biggest archetype in the game, but the ace monster of heroes is definitely, at least for Jaden's sake, Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman, which is a fusion of a Wingman fusion monster and Elemental Hero Neos. So that is Jaden's 2 aces. 3,100 attack, 2,500 defense. Level 8 Light Warrior monster. It must be fusion summoned and it gains 300 attack for each monster in your graveyard. Also, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of different attributes among monsters on both players' fields that does not target. And it also is not on fusion summon, it is on special summon, which means this card is extremely good with the trap card Favorite Contact. So you just set Favorite Contact, and then on your opponent's turn, you summon Shining Neos Wingman. You will usually have light, dark, and maybe wind, and then your opponent will have whatever they have, so you'll be able to destroy between 3 and 6 cards and, burn your opponent. You can only use this effect of Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman once per turn. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack points. So, this card will usually have, at the end of a hero combo, around 6,800 to 7,400 attack points. And it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is really, really annoying for your opponent, because you summoned it in the middle of their turn. So they've already used a lot of their removal on your other cards. So they will probably be out of options to remove this card by the time it is summoned. And since it pops cards when it's summoned, they can't just then go into Goddess. So I've actually never seen anyone Goddess this card. It is probably the only ace monster I've never seen outed by Goddess, because there's just never really an opportunity for your opponent to have 4 monsters to combine with this card. Or, sorry, 3 monsters to combine with this card. So, it's a good card. It's really, really strong, and it's the reason why heroes are a good going first deck, because, to be honest, heroes don't have the greatest interruption. They do have an Omni-Negate now, but it's still an Omni-Negate on the field. And their Dark Law, while it is an extremely good Floodgate, is not the easiest thing to protect. So, the hero board has been fragile for a long time, is what I'm saying. And this card is usually their recovery option, which allows them to actually win the game after the opponent breaks their board. Good card. Next up is Zane, and Zane's ace monster is Cyber Dragon Infinity. So Cyber Dragons have definitely gotten new support, and for the longest time, Cyber Dragons did not have great tools going first. So if you had asked me a while ago what Cyber Dragon's ace monster was, I would tell you it was Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, which is a monster that can basically fuse a Cyber Dragon monster with a monster in your opponent's extra monster zone. So it was basically a board breaker, and it was really, really good. And Cyber Dragons for the longest time were a going second board that just broke boards. But with the release of Clockwork Knight, which allows them to search Regulus, and the new... how do you even pronounce that card's name? It's German. Husoverga? Husoverga? How do you pronounce that card's name? Hold on. Svarog the Mechanical Dawn, which is a fusion of 2 light machine monsters that has a spell and trap negate. After those cards got released, then Cyber Dragons now had enough interruption to go first, and they're pretty decent at going first. And because they are now a going first deck, Cyber Dragon Infinity is their primary reason for, playing the game, because it's an Omni Negate. Can't get much better than an Omni Negate, to be honest. Good card. Cyber Dragon Infinity, if you somehow don't know, is a Reg 6 light machine monster. It's a Xyz summon of 3 level 6 light machine monsters, and once per turn you can also Xyz summon it using Cyber Dragon Nova you control as material. Gains 200 attack for each material attached to it, and once per turn you can target one face-up attack position monster on either field, attach it to this card as material. And then as a soft once per turn, when a card effect is activated, you can detach one material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Good card. Alright. Next up is Aster Phoenix, and if you saw my recent Destiny Hero video, you know the new ace monster. It is Destiny Hero Dreadnought. Destiny Hero Dreadnought is a level 8 Dark Warrior monster. And it is a fusion of 2 level 5 or higher Destiny Hero monsters. Must be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing 1 Destiny Hero Dreadmaster, and can only be special summoned once per turn, no matter which method you use. If this card is special summoned, you can search your deck for 2 Destiny Hero monsters, or cards that mention a Destiny Hero monster, which is D-Burst or D-Force. And then it gains the attack points of all original attack points of Destiny Hero monsters on your field and in your graveyard. So this card is a really good extender when you go first, that can be used as fusion material for a card like DPE. And then when you go second, it's an insane board breaker that you just summon, you give it a bunch of attack points, and then it crashes into something and kills them. So this card gets between 8,000 and 13,000 attack points. You don't even need to kill all your opponent's monsters. You can just kill them. You can just beat through their life points with this card. So it's fantastic. Really, really solid option. Definitely makes Destiny Heroes a pure deck, and I look forward to playing it. Alright, next up is Jesse Anderson, and Jesse Anderson's ace monster is Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon Overdrive, which is a level 12 light dragon fusion monster. That is a fusion of 1 Ultimate Crystal monster plus 7 Crystal Beasts. Must be special summoned from your extra deck during a duel. You special summon an Ultimate Crystal monster, which is Rainbow Dragon, by banishing the above monsters from your field and or graveyard. While 7 or more of your Crystal Beast monsters with different names are banished, this card gains 7,000 attack points, which takes it up to 11,000. If this card is not battled this turn, as a quick effect, you can tribute this card, shuffle as many cards on the field as possible into the deck. If you do, special summon any number of your banished Crystal Beast monsters. So, Ultimate Rainbow Dragon Overdrive can either crash into your opponent for 11,000 and kill them, or you can tribute it to shuffle all your opponent's cards back and then summon all of your banished Crystal Beasts and kill them that way. Really solid card. Next up is Chaz Princeton, and you might be expecting an Armed Dragon card or an Ojama card. No. Chaz Princeton's ace monster is Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, which is a retrain of Light and Darkness Dragon, which was Chaz's ace monster in the manga. Light and Darkness Dragon Lord is a level 10 Light Dragon fusion monster, which is a fusion of a level 8 Light Dragon monster and a level 8 Dark Dragon monster. Any level 8 Light and a level 8 Dark that you choose. It must be fusion summoned, and while face up on the field, this card is also Dark Attribute. Once per chain, If a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated as a quick effect, this card loses exactly 1,000 attack and defense points, and if it does, negate the activation. If this card in its owner's position is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can target one dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And it can't summon itself because it has to be fusion summoned. Alright, so what does this mean? It is very difficult for me to explain Light and Darkness Dragonlord if you've never seen the card in play. The effect is mandatory. You have no control over this card once you summon it. So once you summon this card, every time a card is activated, once per chain, this card will respond. Which means that this card chain blocks everything. Everything in the game is chain blocked. Even if Light and Darkness Dragonlord does not have enough attack points to fulfill the effect, it will still activate. And that means it still chain blocks, which is really, really annoying. Because it means that if your opponent is doing something, right? Like, let's say you have successfully negated 3 of your opponent's cards, and they, for some reason, have not surrendered. Then they activate Sword Soul Emergence, which allows them to search a Sword Soul monster from their deck. You have Ash, which would allow you to negate that Sword Soul Emergence. Well, you can't do that because Light and Darkness Dragonlord activates. And now the last card that was activated is not Sword Soul Emergence, therefore you do not have the ability to activate your Ash Blossom. So, now you cannot, now your opponent can resolve their effects willy-nilly, and your Light and Darkness Dragonlord will just keep interrupting you to stop you from negating it. But in the meantime, it does have 3 Omni Negates that are really, really nice, and your opponent just can't do anything about it. And then you can combine this with the new card Antidote Nurse, which allows you to restore its attack points to normal. It's a rank 3 Exceeds monster that can target a monster you control and set its attack and defense points equal to their original attack and defense points, which means it will now have a total of 6 Omni Negates, but I believe Antidote Nurse is not once per turn. I'm pretty sure the total is 9. Hold on, let me see. Antidote Nurse. It's been a while since I played this deck. You can detach one material from this card, target one monster on the field whose current attack and defense is different from the original value. Attack and defense become their original values. Also, if you targeted a monster on your field, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. And that is not once per turn, and it only requires 1 material. Yes, okay. So yes, you get 9 Omni Negates if you are able to make the Antidote Nurse with this fusion. So it's a fantastic card. This card was played in Branded, actually, for a while. Before Branded got their new support, they would play Branded Banishment, which is a trap card that lets them fusion summon, and they would basically return one of their cards from their graveyard to their hand, and then they would No, I think it's special summons. It special summons a level 8s from their graveyard. So they would bring back their Albion the Branded Dragon and then fuse it with a Dark Dragon, and they would make Light and Darkness Dragonlord on your turn, so that they did not get Omni negated, and then they would just let you suffer, which is good. Really good card. And then, of course, it's once per chain, so anything that you need to do that's not a negate, you can just chain to the negate from. So let's say that you're playing Branded, right? And you have Mirror Jade out. Your opponent summons, I don't know, Dragon Maid Chamber, right? And they activate the effect to search a card, okay? Light and Darkness Dragonlord effect, negate it. And then in response to Light and Darkness Dragonlord's effect activating, you can activate Mirror Jade's effect, send a card to the graveyard, banish the card, and then, you didn't get negated because Light and Darkness Dragonlord already activated this chain. Cool. Alright, next up is Alexis Rhodes. And Alexis Rhodes' ace monster is Cyber Angel Vrash, which is a level 10 light ritual monster. It's a fairy. 3,000 attack points and 2,000 defense points. You can ritual summon this card with Machine Angel Ritual. If this card is ritual summoned, you can destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible that were special summoned from the extra deck. If you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent for each one, and if you do that, this card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So this is a fantastic going second card, which is in a bad deck. So typically this card does not resolve because, if you're playing Cyber Angels, your opponent will just negate the ritual spell. As a soft once per turn during either player's turn when a card effect is activated that would destroy a card on the field, you can shuffle one ritual monster from your graveyard into the deck, negate the activation, and if you destroy the card. So it's a Stardust Dragon effect, which is pretty good, actually. So there's nothing wrong with Rash. Rash is a fine card, but the deck is bad. So this card sees no play. There you go. No more Cyber Angels after that. Next up is Valiant Crowler, and Valiant Crowler's ace monster these days is Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, which is a level 10 Dark Dark Machine fusion monster with 4,500 attack points and 3,000 defense points. It is a fusion of 4 Ancient Gear monsters, must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways, unaffected by all spells and traps, and your opponent's monsters can activate their effects during the battle phase. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing to your opponent. So, I mean, basically an unkillable boss monster turned the Ancient Gears into a fantastic going second deck. Then they got a bunch of new support that basically just facilitates summoning this card with the Ancient Gear Dark Golem and the Ancient Gear statue, and that's fine. This card, sees some play in Master Duel. It's really good. You just kind of always choose to go second, and then you blow up your opponent's board and you win the game. But if you're hoping for more Ancient Gear support for Crowler and Duel Links, no, you've got all of it at this point. Alright, next up is Yubel, and Yubel's ace monster is Yubel the Loving Defender Forever, which is a level 12 Dark Fiend fusion monster, which is a fusion of one Yubel monster, plus one or more effect monsters on the field. So it's any monster that has Yubel in its name except Phantom of Yubel, because Phantom of Yubel cannot be used as fusion material. If this card is fusion summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each material used. You can only use this effect of Yubel the Loving Defender Forever. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. And at the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack points, and if you do, banish that monster. So this is an improvement on the original Yubel, because it's, first of all, it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is really nice. Secondly, it triggers its effect even if you attack into your opponent's monster, and it actually removes the monster. And thirdly, this card is essentially a way for Yubel to play Super Poly. So what you do is you summon Yubel, you set Super Poly, and then you can use literally every monster your opponent controls to just send them all to the graveyard, and then they can't respond to the Super Poly. All their monsters are gone. You summon Yubel, which is an unkillable beast, and then you burn your opponent for, I don't know, let's say you used 4 of their monsters, you burn them for 2,500 damage. Good. Good card. And Yubel does have a searchable trap card, which is essentially a Super Poly that your opponent can respond to. So, yeah, I mean, this card's great. It's not exactly Phantom of Yubel, which is Phantom of Yubel is basically a monster negate, kind of. But I would say that Phantom of Yubel is more of like a protection for the Yubel deck, and Yubel the Loving Defender Forever is actually how Yubel wins. Good deck. Alright, next up is Bastion Misawa, and Bastion Misawa in the anime did use water dragons, but he is more commonly associated with Magnet Warriors, I believe because of one of the games. So his ace monster these days is Tellusion the Magna Warrior, which is a level 8 Earth Rock monster like all the other Magna Warriors. It's 2,500 attack, 2,500 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your graveyard by banishing one Magnet Warrior Sigma Plus and one Magnet Warrior Sigma Minus from your hand, face-up monster zone, and or graveyard. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, as a quick effect you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, or if you targeted an Earth monster, you can take control of it instead. And during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can tribute this card to special summon 2 of your banished Magnet Warrior Sigma monsters, which allows you to then, use your Magnet Warrior Sigma Plus and Sigma Minus to combine into other things. Very, very good card. In particular, Tellusion is interesting because it does not have a restriction that it can only be summoned once per turn. So you can potentially mill, all your copies of Tellusion, all your copies of Magnet Warrior Sigma Plus, and all your copies of Magnet Warrior Sigma Minus, and then you could summon 3 copies of Tellusion if you wanted to. So that's not how people use the card, but it is, in theory, an option for the card, which makes it more interesting, in my opinion. Obviously, being able to take control of one of your opponent's monsters is insane. There are other Magnet Warrior cards that make your opponent's monsters into Earth monsters, so you will just steal them, and yeah. I mean, Magnet Warriors are a ridiculously powerful deck. They're one of the best decks in the game right now, and this card is the ace of that deck, so there you go. Next up is Cyrus Truesdale, and obviously if I was trolling, I could just say that the best card in Cyrus Truesdale's archetype is High Speed Roid Kite Drake, because technically every Speed Roid is a Roid card, but, you know, I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to give it an honest try. And after giving it an honest try, I've determined that the Vehicroid deck is trash. It has not gotten any support in years, and the support that it did get was bad. However, after looking into it, I did find one Vehicroid deck that kind of did function a little bit, and it's a blind second Vehicroid deck that focuses around the card Meteor Rush Monocroid. Meteor Rush Monocroid is a level 10 Earth machine monster with 0 attack points and 0 defense points. During the battle phase, if 5 or more attacks have been declared this turn, as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect of Meteor Rush Monocroid once per turn. If this card battles, it gains 1,000 attack points for each attack declared this turn during the damage step only. So, here's how you play this card. You play a blind second deck where you just blow up all your opponent's spells and traps, negate all their monster effects, and then you summon Nova Summoner. Nova Summoner is a level 4 light fairy monster with 1,400 attack points. When it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon a fairy monster from your deck with 1,500 attack points or less. So you summon Nova Summoner, you crash into one of your opponent's monsters, then you summon another Nova Summoner from the deck. Do it again, summon your third Nova Summoner. Do it again. This time you summon Shining Angel. Shining Angel is a level 4 light fairy monster, and it says if this card is destroyed by battle, you can special summon a light monster from your deck with 1,500 or less attack points. So you crash, summon your second Shining Angel, crash, summon your third Shining Angel. Now, when you crash again, you summon UFO Roid, which is a Vehicroid monster, level 5 light machine monster with 1,200 attack points. That says when this card is destroyed by battle, you can special summon a machine monster from your deck with 1,500 or less attack points. UFO Roid, crash, UFO Roid, crash. Third UFO Roid summons this card. Then you get to attack, and this card has 10,000 attack points because 10 attacks have been declared this turn. You theoretically reduce one of your monster's attack points with Forbidden Droplet, and you just deal 8,000 damage in a single attack. You know, it's cheese, it's silly, it's not really related to Vehicroids, but technically speaking, it does use UFO Roid, which is one of Cyrus's monsters, and it is a Roid card itself, so there you go. That's as close to playable as I can make Vehicroids at this point. Next up is Tyranno Hasselberry, and Tyranno Hasselberry's ace monster is Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. What is there to say about this card? It is the best dinosaur that's ever been printed. Level 10 light dinosaur monster, cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard. Once per turn during either player's main phase, you can destroy one monster in your hand or field. If you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. If you do, send that defense position monster to the graveyard. This is essentially a combination of 2 of Tyranno's cards, Superconductor Tyranno, which was tribute a monster, deal 1,000, and Ultimate Tyranno, which could attack all monsters your opponent controls. The fact that it banishes 2 monsters from the graveyard is a reference to how those 2 monsters had to be tribute summoned by tributing 2 monsters. Good card. What do you want me to say? The artwork's amazing. This card sees play in dinosaurs all the time, and it is a card that will get you tops. And it's already in Duel Links, so you don't even have to worry about waiting for it. Next up is Sartorius Kumar, and Sartorius Kumar's ace monster is Arcana Force Extra, the Chaos Ruler, which is a level 10 light fusion monster. Fairy, 3,300 attack points and 3,300 defense points. It is a fusion of 3 Arcana Force monsters with different names. Must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. So you can send Arcana Force monsters your opponent controls, which is important for one of the cards that was printed for this card. If this card is special summoned, toss a coin. If it's heads, you can special summon 1 level 10 Arcana Force monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which I believe is just the world, right? No, the world is level 8, so no. Oh, it's Arcana Force Extra, the Light Ruler, and Arcana Force Extra, the Dark Ruler. That's right. And then Tails, you can add 1 card from your deck to your hand that has a coin tossing effect, which is the world. While light barriers in the field zone, your opponent can activate the effects of monsters on the field. So, Arcana Force Extra, the Chaos Ruler, I have a video on my channel about this. There is a 1-card combo that allows you to just summon Arcana Force Extra along with getting Light Barrier, and then with the new cards, you are able to summon the world, guarantee that the world is resolves, and then you just, stop your opponent from ever taking a turn, and you kill them. Good card. Good card, good deck, very cheesy, very funny. Next up, we have Jim Crocodile Cook, and Jim Crocodile Cook, his ace monster is Fossil Machine Skull Convoy, which is a level 8 Earth Rock Fusion monster. There's a fusion of 1 rock monster in your graveyard and 1 level 7 or higher monster from either graveyard. Must first be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. While you control this fusion summoned card, all monsters your opponent controls lose attack points equal to their own original defense points. This card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, and when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. So, Fossil has not gotten any new updates. Skull Convoy is their best monster. It is the monster that can really easily OTK. So Fossils are basically just a blind second deck that functions really well by preying on the opponents using all their monsters in the graveyard as material. Like, you Synchro Summon, you send 2 cards to the graveyard, now you can use those as fusion material for the Fossil deck. And Skull Convoy doesn't need to activate any effects, which is very important. It's summoned. You don't have to activate its effect to burn your opponent, and you can just crash into 3 monsters. It only has 2,100 attack points, but if your opponent's monster's attack points are all 0, it doesn't matter. And then that will very easily allow you to clean up their board. Maybe even if you don't win the game right there, you have broken their board, then you can set up other cards. And it's not like rocks are a bad deck, right? You can play this in Adamancipators, you can play it with Block Dragon, so you can potentially set up a good end board after clearing your opponent's board with Fossil Machine Skull Convoy. You'll just have to use non-fossil cards to do so. Next up is Axel Brody, who is a coward. Volcanic Emperor is his new ace monster. It is a level 8 Fire Pyro monster. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand or your graveyard by banishing 3 Pyro monsters or 1 Blaze Accelerator card from your face-up field and or graveyard. You can only special summon Volcanic Emperor once per turn this way. When this card is summoned by its own effect, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each banished Pyro monster from either player. Then you can set 1 Volcanic Trap card directly from your deck, and each time your opponent special summons a monster, inflict 500 damage to them, which is really funny. That is not an activated effect. It's just, it's like Mirror Jade, where every time your opponent summons a monster, it just interrupts them and they take 500 damage, whether there's a chain or not. And it can't be negated unless your opponent negates the face-up card. Volcanic Emperor is fantastic. The trap card that it sets is Volcanic Emission, which lets you burn your opponent equal to half the attack points of one of your Pyro monsters or the full attack points of one of their Pyro monsters. And there is an FTK with this. I posted on my channel. If you are interested, look up Snake Eyes Volcanic. Volcanic is a fire deck. It's a burn deck. It's designed to deal damage. And just like Gimmick Puppets, the new support that was given to them is designed to FTK and basically nothing else. And that's fine. It's good. It's powerful. Last character in GX, the Supreme King. The Supreme King's new ace monster is Evil Hero Neos Lord, which is fantastic. Obviously, the original Evil Heroes were references to the original Elemental Hero monsters like Sparkman, Clayman, Avian, and Burstinatrix. Now we have Evil Hero Neos Lord, which is a reference to Neos, and it is a level 10 Dark Fiend fusion monster, which is a fusion of Elemental Hero Neos, or a fusion monster that mentions Elemental Hero Neos, plus 1 effect monster on the field. Because it mentions 1 effect monster on the field, it cannot be summoned with the effect of Neos fusion. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If this card is special summoned or a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while this card is on the field, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it forever. Insane. You do have to either play Dark Fusion, Dark Contact, Dark Calling, or you have to have your field spell, Supreme King's Castle, or use the effect of Evil Hero Infernal Gainer, which allows you to summon monsters that cannot be summoned with Dark Fusion, special summon except by the effect of Dark Fusion, using cards other than Dark Fusion, in order to summon this card. So there's some hoops you have to jump through. That's Evil Heroes. You'll get used to it. But if you use Infernal Gainer's effect and you have Neos on the field, then you are able to Super Poly this card into Neos Lord, and then you can just take control of one of your opponent's monsters, and then every time your opponent sends a monster to the graveyard once per turn, you can take one of their monsters again. So this card can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. It's really, really annoying to get rid of, and as long as it keeps stealing all your opponent's monsters, they're going to have a hard time actually answering it. That includes, by the way, this is not if a monster is sent to the graveyard by card effects. So if your opponent Synchro Summons, for example, they're going to send 2 monsters to the graveyard, and that triggers Neos Lord's effect, so it can then take the Synchro monster. So really, really good card. I like it a lot. All right, into 5Ds. We have Junk Warrior Extreme, which is a Synchro Summon level 8 Dark Warrior monster. It is a Synchro of Junk Synchron plus one or more non-tuner monsters, which is usually Junk Speeder or Junk Warrior. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can special summon as many level 2 or lower monsters as possible from your graveyard, but neither player can activate those monsters' effects this turn. Also, you can only special summon one more time this turn. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can banish this card. Special summon one Junk Synchro monster from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro Summon. You can only use each effect of Junk Warrior Extreme once per turn. This card is fantastic. What it does, you Synchro Summon it. You bring back as many level 2 monsters as possible. Then you go into your battle phase. You attack one of your opponent's monsters. It destroys it. Junk Warrior Extreme then activates. It special summons Junk Warrior. And when Junk Warrior is Synchro Summoned, it can then gain the attack points of every level 2 or lower monster you control. So you just get a bunch of attack points and then you beat your opponent to death with the original Junk Warrior. It's awesome. The new cards are all great. You've got the Anchor Bolt Hedgehog, which is 800 attack points. You've got the Full Speed Warrior, which has 900 attack points, and then also gives all your Junk Warrior monsters an additional 900 attack points during the battle phase. That is not an activated effect, so it is not prevented by the effect of Junk Warrior Extreme, and you just get like a 10,000 attack Junk Warrior and you kill your opponent. It is great. It does require that your opponent have a monster that can be destroyed in battle, but usually they do. It's not that big. I mean, Link monsters don't really protect themselves from anything, so it's funny. It's funny. Trust me. This card seems innocuous, really it does. But once you play this card, you grow to love it. It is genuinely so nice to just like, oh, I'm gonna beast mode on you with Junk Warrior for like 10,000 attack points. And by the way, the artwork is insane as well. Good card. Next up is Jack Atlas, and Jack Atlas's ace monster is Red Hypernova Dragon. Oh, by the way, at this point, people are probably wondering where all the Overframe cards are. I'm trying to avoid those as much as possible. Obviously, Overframes are being printed at a higher power level than other cards because Konami wants to sell them because they're really expensive. But I will not be including them on the list unless they are very obviously performing well in actual tournaments with data. So that's why, like Stardust Dragon Victim Sanctuary isn't on the list. Alright, Red Hypernova Dragon. This is a level 12 Dark Dragon Synchro monster. You might think, we had Red Nova Dragon. That was 2 tuners plus a Red Nova, and then, Red Dragon Archfiend. Then we had Red Supernova Dragon, which was 3 tuners plus a Dragon Synchro. How can we go further? Well, Red Hypernova Dragon is 4 tuners plus 1 or more non-tuner Synchro monsters. Must first be Synchro Summoned with the above materials. That means this card cannot be cheated with the effect of Crimson Dragon, which is very nice. I'm glad Konami learned their lesson. 4,500 attack points, 3,000 defense points. Gains 500 attack points for each tuner in your graveyard, that's Red Nova Dragon's effect. And I believe it's also Red Supernova Dragon's effect, which is good. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can activate this effect, banish this card. Also, banish as many cards from your opponent's field and graveyard as possible. Then you can special summon 1 Red Nova Dragon from your extra deck, and this is treated as a Synchro Summon. So, it's basically Red Supernova Dragon, except it doesn't require that your opponent actually activate anything. You can just do it. It banishes cards from your opponent's graveyard as well as their field. And then it also just plants Red Nova Dragon on your field in order to protect you. And Red Nova Dragon is summoned as a Synchro Summon, so even if it uses its own effect to banish itself to prevent an attack, it will still come back. And by the way, just like Red Supernova Dragon, Red Hypernova Dragon's effect is a soft once per turn, which means that if you activate Red Zone, you could bring it back and do it again. So not only do you get to board nuke your opponent twice, you get to grave nuke your opponent twice. As a quick effect, absolutely crazy. There's the only thing that holds this card back is how difficult it is to make, and the new cards make it insanely easy to make. So this card is not held back at all, and it will be absolutely, unbelievably unstoppable. Now, obviously, this card can't come to Duel Links. Who cares? It's great in Mash Duel. It's great in the TCG. I love this card. I can't wait for it. The fact that it requires 4 synchros, 4 tuners plus a non-tuner synchro monster means it requires 5 spaces on the board, so you will not be able to play this in Duel Links, but, sorry about that. Alright. Next up is Blackwinged Assault Dragon. This is a level 10 Dark Dragon. Why would Crow have a winged beast as his ace monster? Why would that wouldn't make any sense. Crow Hogan, level 10 Dark Dragon Synchro monster. It is a Synchro Summon of a tuner Synchro monster plus 1 or more non-tuners. Must either be Synchro Summon or Special Summon from your extra deck by banishing a Tuner Synchro monster and a Blackwing Dragon from your face-up field and or graveyard, regardless of their level. So you don't need to worry about like having a level 2 Tuner Synchro monster. It doesn't matter. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, place 1 Black Feather counter on this card when that effect resolves, and if you do inflict 700 damage to your opponent, this is not an activated effect, so it does not interrupt it. It works in the middle of a chain, it cannot start a new chain, and it does not get negated. During your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can tribute this card with 4 or more Black Feather counters on it and destroy all cards on the field. So, this is not... there's no restriction on this card that stops you from having multiple copies of it. You do have to... you are very unlikely to summon more than 1 Blackwing Dragon per turn. And you are also very unlikely to have more than 1 Tuner Synchro monster at all. In Blackwings. It's not really a thing that they do. So, you will typically Synchro Summon this card twice by summoning your Blackwing Boreas Storm, the Wicked Wind, or whatever it's called. That's a different monster. What is the Tuner Synchro monster called? Blackwing... There's only like 1 Tuner Synchro monster on Blackwings. Obviously, all the Raikiris and stuff, all the Assault Blackwing cards are treated as tuners if they're Synchro Summon, but there's only 1 actual Tuner Synchro monster, which is... Oh, it is Blackwing Boreas Storm the Wicked Wind. Why did I doubt myself? I'm never wrong. Okay. And that's a level 6, and then you can combine that with Zephyros, and then Synchro Summon, and then you have the new Black Whirlwind card, which brings it back, and then you can Synchro Summon it with another level 4, and you make a second one, then you banish it from the graveyard along with your Blackwing Dragon, and then you make your third one, and then your opponent takes 2100 damage every time they activate a monster effect, and they die. It's great! I love this card. Blackwings are super fun to play because of this card, and no other reason. Obviously, you can just blow up the whole field. Be careful, it does blow up your field as well, though. Next up is Akiza Izinski, and Akiza Izinski's new card is Bramble Rose Dragon, which is a level 7 fire plant synchro monster. So, even though it is a retrain of Black Rose Dragon, it is a plant and not a dragon, because Akiza plays plants. I don't know why it was so hard for them. Has 24 attack points and 18 defense points, and is a Synchro Summon of a plant tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, inflict 600 damage to your opponent. And if you do, all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 600 attack points forever. So, yeah. Just like the Blackwinged Dragon, that is fantastic. There is no restriction on this. You can have 3 Bramble Rose Dragons if you want to, and your opponent will take 1800 damage every time they activate a card monster effect, which is hilarious. You can only use each of the following effects of Bramble Rose Dragon once per turn. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can tribute this card, and then special summon 1 Black Rose Dragon from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro Summon, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 level 4 or lower plant tuner from your graveyard. This card does let you, like, if you Synchro Summon it off to make a higher level monster, you can then banish it to bring back a tuner, which will allow you to make a second Bramble Rose Dragon, so that you can have it on your opponent's turn. And then you can also tribute it to summon Black Rose Dragon, which blows up your opponent's entire field. It does, also blow up your field, but there's a new level 6 Synchro monster that protects your plant monsters from being destroyed by your own card effects, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you also have a continuous spell card, which when it's destroyed by the effect of Black Rose Dragon, burns your opponent for 2400 damage, which is really funny, and it means that Bramble Rose puts your opponent on a much shorter clock than it might otherwise appear, because you can usually burn them for about 3000 damage all at once. Good card. Fantastic. I love the new Black Rose stuff. Next up is Leo, and Leo's new ace monster is not new. Power Tool Braver Dragon. They've not given Morphtronics basically anything because Morphtronics are bad. Level 9, yes, level 9 Earth Machine Synchro Monster is a Synchro Summon of 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. If this card is special summon, you can equip up to 3 equipped spells from different names from your deck or graveyard to this card. During the main phase, you can send 1 of your equipped spells equipped to this card to the graveyard. Target 1 effect monster on the field either changes its battle position or until the end of the turn negates effects. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, it's a monster negate. That's about as good as we're going to get in Morphtronics. Perfectly serviceable. Next up, we have Luna, who was treated way better than Leo. And she got a completely new set of cards, which are all really, really fun and interesting. And her new ace monster is Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, which is a level 8 light dragon synchro monster, which is a synchro summon of 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can draw 1 card, or if the World of Spirits is on the field, add 1 Light Beast, Light Fairy, or Light Plant from your deck to your... Or if the World of Spirits is on the field, add 1 Light Beast, Light Plant, Light Fairy, or 1 Eternal Sunshine from your deck to your hand instead. Eternal Sunshine is a trap card that is like a... Is it a monster negate or an omni negate? I think it's a monster negate. Hold on, let's see. Eternal Sunshine is... a monster negate. Okay. Eternal Sunshine is a continuous trap card that's a monster negate for each card you control that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon. So you can play like 4 of them, and then you have 4 monster negates. You can only use this effect of Ancient Fairy Life Dragon once per turn. Your Ancient Fairy Dragon and monsters that mention can attack while in face-up defense position. If they do, apply their defense for damage calculation, and this card has 3,300 defense points. So Luna is basically like her new deck is just light plants like Spore, light beasts like Regulus, and light fairies, along with Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, which is a light dragon monster, and then you have a field spell that makes your monsters, really powerful, and the continuous trap that negates all your opponent's effects. It's interesting. So this deck is good. This deck is fine. It's not tiered or anything, but it is fun and interesting to play, and it can get you wins. But Ancient Fairy Life Dragon is also pretty interesting on its own, because since it can attack while it's in defense position, it actually sees play in Blue Eyes, because Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon summons light synchro monsters in defense position. So this card, if you have it in your extra deck, actually allows Spirit Dragon to get you lethal. So a lot of Blue Eyes players play this card at 1, just so that they can summon this card during the battle phase with Spirit Dragon and get an extra 3,300 points of damage. Next up is Antinomy, and Antinomy has gotten a new wave of Tech Genius cards. His new ace monster is Tech Genius Glaive Blaster, which is a level 12 Earth Machine Synchro Monster that is a Synchro Summon of 1 Tuner Synchro Monster, plus 2 or more non-Tuner Synchro Monsters, just like Halberd Cannon. Must be Synchro Summon. As a quick effect, it's not a dragon, so you can't cheat it out with Crimson Dragon anyway. As a quick effect, you can target 1 monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck and banish it. You can use this effect a number of times per turn, up to the number of non-Tuner Synchro Monsters use as Synchro material for this card, so usually twice. Once per turn, if a monster is banished face up, except during the damage step, you can target 1 of those monsters and special summon it to your field, ignoring its summoning conditions. So Glaive Blaster gets to banish cards your opponent controls, and then also it can bring 1 of them back to your field, regardless if it was summoned correctly or not, which is really, really, really funny. It also has 4,000 attack points and 4,000 defense points, and TGs have their own searchable counter trap now, which I believe is an Omni Negate. TG Close. Yes, that's an Omni Negate. So yeah, cool. TGs are fine. They have a lot of 1-card combos. They're really good. Next up is Tetsu Trudge, and his ace monster is now Goyo Emperor, which is a fusion of 2 Earth Warrior Synchro monsters. When this card or a monster you control that was owned by your opponent destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field. So the theme of Goyo monsters stealing everything continues. When your opponent special summons a monster except during the damage step, you contribute 1 Earth Warrior Synchro monster, take control of that monster, and if this face-up card leaves the field, return control of all monsters you control to the owner. So yeah, Emperor is just insane. If you win by battle, you get to steal. If your opponent summons a monster, you contribute to steal. And then as long as Goyo Emperor remains on the field, you keep all of them. Good card. Next up is Colin Kessler, and Colin Kessler has gotten Infernity Doom Dragon, which is a level 8 Dark Dragon Synchro monster that is a tuner, 1 Dark Tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. Once per turn, if you have no cards in your hand, you can select 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy that monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack, and this card cannot attack during the same turn you activate this effect. So, Infernity has gotten some new support since they came out. They've gotten some recent cards, but none of them are Synchro monsters or boss monsters. They're all just, more ways that you can use the Infernity engine, because at this point, Konami recognizes that Infernity just is an engine that goes in other decks, which is fine. Infernity is still a good deck. It's still sees play a lot, and if Infernity Launcher ever gets unlimited in the TCG, it will probably do really well. But for right now, as far as monsters go, they are just building blocks rather than final pieces. Next up is Carly Carmine. I'm not going to cover Fortune Fairies because why would I? But as far as Fortune Ladies go, we have Fortune Lady Every, which is a level 7 light spellcaster synchro monster. It is a synchro summon with a tuner and 1 non-tuner spellcaster. Its card's attack and defense become equal to its level times 400. And once per turn during your standby phase, you can increase this card's level by... you do increase this card's level by 1. Then you can banish one face-up monster your opponent controls. And during your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one other spellcaster monster from your graveyard and special summon this card. You can only use this effect of Fortune Lady every once per turn. So, every is just a generically good card, sees play in spellcaster decks that are able to synchro summon and hit level 7s. It's a non-targeted banish, which is nice. Has decent attack points and is difficult to kill forever because it can just special summon itself every turn. At the moment, I think it sees play in Branded. I was surprised to see that it was in a list earlier. Hold on. Got a top 8 in Elf Notes, which makes sense because Elf Notes are all spellcasters. So yeah, I do think that this card is a tech that could see more play in Elf Notes moving forward, because it's a level 7 that requires a non-tuner spellcaster monster, which lines up perfectly with Elf Notes because they have a level 1 tuner and they're all level 6. So yeah, I mean, look forward to this card. It will actually be good moving forward, just not in Fortune Ladies, because Fortune Lady is more like a turbo draw, FTK deck than anything else. Next up is Sherry LeBlanc, and Sherry LeBlanc's main monster is, of course, Baronne de Fleur, which is a level 10 Wind Warrior Synchro monster. Baronne de Fleur, while it is a famous Omni-Negate that sees play in basically everything, is French for a reason, and that reason is that it is Sherry LeBlanc's card. 3,000 attack points, 2,400 defense points. Once per turn, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. And once while face up on the field, when a card effect is activated as a quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card, and you can only use that effect once per turn for each Baronne de Fleur. Once per turn, during the standby phase, you can target one level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck. If you do, special summon that monster. So that is a reference to, Chevalier de Fleur and Centaur Mina and all those other monsters like to, climb. So the idea was that you would, Centaur Mina into Chevalier de Fleur, then Chevalier de Fleur into Baronne de Fleur, and then after Baronne de Fleur has used her one Omni-Negate, you would go back down to Centaur Mina and start the climb all over again. So that's why the effect is like that. And very clearly, this monster is a flower. It's a warrior, but its helmet and armor is like a giant flower, just like Chevalier de Fleur. Basically looks like Chevalier de Fleur, but its flower is open instead of closed. Cool card. Next up is Aporia. Aporia's ace monster is Mechlord Astro Dragon Triskelion. There are a couple of Mechlord monsters, but Astro Dragon Triskelion is probably the most useful because it is it's a machine that can attack and then equip monsters from your opponent's extra deck, whether those monsters are synchro monsters or not. And it gains the attack of those combined monsters' attacks, and then if it happens to equip a synchro monster, it can also make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, which is nice. So yeah, Triskelion is probably the most consistent of the Mechlord monsters. You do have the one that's not in Duel Links right now, but I think that one requires that you tribute 3 other monsters. Alright, let's see. Yeah, Astro Dragon Asterisk cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by controlling 3 or more Mechlord monsters. And none of the Mechlord monsters are extra deck monsters, so none of them would be in the extra monster zone. That's the only reason we haven't gotten this card, because you can't summon it without 4 zones. It's not like it's a good card. Alright, Triskelion is the one that we're looking at. Next up is Paradox. And of all the Malefic monsters that are in the game, Paradigm Dragon is probably the only one that is good. Except for Malefic Paradox Gear, but that's not good because it's a Malefic card. Malefic Paradigm Dragon is a level 10 dark dragon monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing one Malefic monster from your extra deck while Malefic Paradigm Dragon is not on the field. If Malefic World specifically is not on the field, destroy this card. Once per turn, you can send one Malefic card from your deck to the graveyard. Return one of your banished level 8 synchro monsters to the extra deck. Then you can special summon that monster from the extra deck. Also, you can only attack with Malefic monsters for the rest of the turn. So, how this works. Paradigm Dragon banishes Malefic Paradox Dragon from your extra deck to summon itself. Then you summon Malefic Stardust Dragon by banishing Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. Malefic Paradigm Dragon then mills Malefic Truth Dragon, which can special summon itself from the graveyard, to return Stardust Dragon to your extra deck. Then you can cheat summon Stardust Dragon, which will not be able to summon its, if you tribute it for its own effect, it cannot come back because you did not synchro summon it. But this is a reference to how Paradox was able to summon his own Stardust Dragon. And then you can just exceed those. So you use like Stardust and Malefic Stardust to make a rank 8. That's how you play Malefics. If you want to actually play Malefics, this is how you do it. And it is solely enabled because of Malefic Paradigm Dragon. So, good card. Alright, next up is Zone. Time Lords are really annoying. They are just a stall burn deck, and of all the Time Lord monsters, the one that sees the most play is by far Michion the Time Lord, which is a level 10 Fire Fairy monster. Cannot be special summoned from the deck. If you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without attributing. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. You take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. At the end of the battle phase, if this card battled, have your opponent's life points, and once per turn during your standby phase, shuffle this card into the deck. So Time Lords are a stall burn deck, and Michion can reduce your opponent's life points by 4,000 with a single attack, which is why it's the most important Time Lord, and that is why it is the ace monster. Finally, into Zexal. Alright, next up we have Yuma and Astral. And Yuma and Astral's new ace monster is number F0 Utopic Future Zexal. Kind of difficult to tell whether this card is the most important monster or F0 UDF is, but when I looked at current tournament participation, 80% of decks were playing both of these cards. And there was no card that was being played at 100% except for Gaia Girl, which is not an ace monster. So, here you go. Alright. It requires 2 Xyz monsters with the same rank, and as this card's original rank is always treated as 1. It gains attack and defense equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monsters you control, and in your opponent's graveyard times 500. Your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target any other card on the field with card effects. That includes their own cards. So your opponent can't play any equip spells. They can't play any cards that target their monsters. They can't target their own monsters with other monsters. They can't do anything other than target Utopic Future Zexal. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field as a quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, take control of 1 monster your opponent controls without targeting. Also, for the rest of the turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and your opponent cannot attack anything other than this card. So this card invalidates your opponent's battle phase. It can protect itself from being destroyed by card effects in response to one of your opponent's effects, and it also steals your opponent's monster. Really, really good card, you know. This card is actually surprisingly difficult to deal with, unless you have exactly Imperm. Yeah. Next up is Shark Castle. There are plenty of Shark cards that see play, but the best one is Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer, which is a retrain of Black Ray Lancer, of course. This is a rank 7 Water Xyz monster. It's Aqua, and it is an Xyz summon of 3 level 7s. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer by using 1 rank 5 or rank 6 Xyz monster you control. It gains 300 attack for each material and equip card that it has, and once per turn you can target 1 Xyz card in your graveyard and add it to your hand, like Xyz Revive Splash or Armor Xyz. Once per turn, if an equip card becomes equipped to a monster you control, you can attach 1 monster your opponent controls to this card as material without targeting. So Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer allows you to, what you do is you banish Full Armored Xyz from your graveyard, equip this card with something like Shark Drake, and then it will steal one of your opponent's monsters in the middle of their turn, which can be very devastating for them. And then while it's equipped, of course, depending on the equipped monster, it can potentially not be destroyed by battle, and it gains a bunch of attack points. It's really hard to out. This card will usually have somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 attack points, and, it protects itself. So, really, really good, really solid card. Sees a lot of play. Next up is Kite Tenjo. This is the first Overframe card on the list, but, I mean, what can I say? It's a retrain of his ace monster. It's really, really solid, and this card is going to make Galaxy Eyes play in a completely different way than they have before. So I have to say this card is working. Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord Photon Howling, which is a rank 8 Dragon Xyz monster with 4,500 attack points and 3,000 defense points. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon Photon Howling by using 1 rank 8 Xyz monster you control and transfer its materials. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can take 1 Photon monster from your deck, either special summon it in defense position or attach it to this card's material. So if you cheat this card out, and you cheated it out using a rank 8 that you detached a material from, you can reattach a material. Otherwise, you can just summon a monster from your deck. As a quick effect, you can detach 3 materials from this card. So you have to pay 3 materials. You can only do this once. You can detach 3 materials from this card, tribute 1 other Xyz monster. If you do, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field until the end of this turn. So it negates everything. All of your opponent's cards. Amazing. absolutely fantastic. Obviously, that is what the original Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon did when it was Exceed Summon, but this is a quick effect, which makes it way better. Good card. Next up is Trey. Trey's Ace Monster is Chronomaly V Mana, which is a rank 5 light machine monster. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target one face-up monster on the field and one Chronomaly monster or one Exceed monster in your graveyard. The first target gains attack equal to half the second target's, then attach the second target to this card's material. And once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can attach 2 material from this card to negate the activation. Chronomaly has not gotten basically any support since they came out, so they are not really a deck. V-Mana does see play in Chronomaly. It also sees play in K9 Crystron and in Cyber Dragons, basically anywhere that light machines are. So, good card. You know, Monster Negate. Can recur its effect. Solid. Next up is Quattro, and Quattro's Ace Monster is Chaos Xyz Gimmick Puppet Fanatics Machinex, which is not in Duel Links yet because it's locked behind a skill. This is a rank 9 Dark Machine monster that is an Xyz summon of 3 level 9s. If this card is special summon, you can add one puppet trap from your deck to your hand. You can detach one material from this card to special summon one monster from either graveyard to your opponent's field in defense position. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field except during the damage step, you can target one of them, destroy it, and if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its original attack, you can only use each effective Chaos Xyz Gimmick Puppet Fanatics Machinex once per turn. This card is currently banned in the TCG because it's really, really good at enabling FTKs. It sees play in Mitsurugi. And basically, you can just one card FTK with either Habakiri or, the Mansion of the Dreadful Dolls, the Little Soldiers. There are so many one card FTKs and Gimmick Puppets right now, it's insane. And it's all enabled by this card and the rank 8 that comes from it, Fantasix. So, yeah, solid. Next up is Annika Boom, and we did recently get some new train support. So her new Ace Monster is Super Dreadnought Railkin and Gustav Rocket, which is a rank 10 Earth Machine monster that is an Xyz summon of 3 level 10s. It has 5,000 attack and 3,000 defense. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Super Dreadnought Railkin and Gustav Rocket by discarding one card and using one Super Dreadnought Railkin and Gustav Max you control, transfer its materials to this card. When your opponent activates a monster effect while this card has material, as a quick effect, you can negate that effect. If you do, destroy that monster, then inflict damage to, then inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. You can only use this effect once per turn, and once per turn during your end phase, detach one material from this card or destroy it. That's pretty interesting. It does not require that you detach a material to use Railkin and Gustav Rocket's effect. Instead, you can only activate the effect while it has material, which is pretty cool. Good card. It's a monster negate. It burns your opponent. Obviously, you can Xyz summon this card using Gustav, which has already burned your opponent for 2,000, so they are on a big clock, and then you just kill them because that's 5,000 attack points. Next up is Garog. Hands are technically an archetype, which is why Garog is included in this list. Vector is not, and neither is Marin. But hands have not gotten any new cards, so, I mean, Giant Hand is the card. It is rank 4 Rocket Xyz monster that requires 2 level 4s. During either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's field except during the damage step, you can attach 2 materials from this card and then target one effect monster your opponent controls while this card is face up on the field. That effect monster's effects are negated, also it cannot change its battle position. So, it's just a negate. It's just a generic negate that can be played in any rank 4 deck. Hat was, the hat format was defined because of this card. You could play Trap Tricks and go into Giant Hand. You could play Hands and go into Giant Hand. You could play Artifacts and go into Artifact Darda. Whatever. No, not Darda. Darda is the Link monster. Durandal. So, yeah. There was a format where, we were just all playing Giant Hand, and that was this format. So this card's good. It has seen play in the past. There are some decks that still play this card, but for the most part, it's had its time, and Hands are never going to get any additional support. Next up is Alito, and Alito's Ace Monster is Balan Boxer King Dempsey. Even though Chaos number 79 is strictly the better card, there's just no solid way to summon Chaos number 79. In Balan Boxers, they don't have a way to search a rank up spell. So King Dempsey is just the more reliable card. It's a rank 4 Fire Xyz monster, warrior, 2300 attack, 1800 defense, requires 2 level 4s. If this card is special summon, you can take one level 4 or lower Fire Warrior monster or one Balan Boxer spell trap, Balan Boxen spell trap, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. As a quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, and if you do, your opponent cannot target Balan Boxer monsters you control with card effects this turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. This card does see play in Infernobles and other Fire Warrior decks. But, I mean, in Balan Boxers, it's a fine card as well. Next up is Mazar, and technically speaking, Divine Golden Shadow Dragon Regluxion is not a Tachyon card, but it does mention Tachyon by name, so I'm counting it. Rank 8 Light Dragon Xyz monster. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can add one Galaxy or Tachyon card from your deck to your hand. You can detach 2 materials from this card, special summon one rank 8 Dragon Xyz monster with 3,000 attack points from your extra deck by using this card you control as material. Then you can attach one Galaxy monster from your extra deck to it as an additional material. This is treated as an Xyz summon. Transfer this card's materials to the summon monster. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, Tachyon only sees play now because of this card. It searches additional copies of Tachyon Transmigration. It searches the Primal so that you can, summon monsters to get additional extension. It can go into Dragalubion if you're going second, so you can then go into Numeron Dragon and kill your opponent. It can go into Hope Harbinger if you're going first to give yourself additional interruption. It's just a very strong card, and it is the reason that Tachyon is separated finally and is independent from Galaxy Photon as a deck. Definitely an ace. Next up is Dumon. Star Seraphs is technically an archetype, but it hasn't seen any support in years. So the best card in that deck is Star Seraph Sentry, which is a rank 4 Light Xyz monster. It's a fairy, requires 3 level 4 lights. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, have its attack and negate its effects permanently. If this card's on the field would be destroyed, you can detach all materials from it instead, and if you do, any battle damage you take this turn is halved. Star Seraph Sentry is fine. It's a fine card. It actually sees a lot of play right now in a lot of different decks, because 7th Tachyon lets you reveal it, and it's it's a rank 4 light monster. So it can search level 4 light monsters, which is something that a lot of decks actually want to do. So even though Star Seraphs have had their time in the shine gone, Star Seraph Sentry sees play in Exo Sisters, Tachyon, Mitsurugi, Heraldic Beasts, Ryziel, all sorts of decks. Alright, finally we are into Arc V, and with Arc V we have Yuya Sakaki, and his ace monster is Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon is a level 7 Wind Dragon Fusion monster. It requires 1 Odd Eyes monster plus 1 Pendulum monster. When this card is special summoned, you can target 1 opponent's face-up attack position monster and return it to the hand. When a spell or trap card or another monster effect is activated as a quick effect, you can shuffle 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck. Negate the activation if you do destroy that card, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So, it's an Omni-Negate. It's the only Omni-Negate that's in Odd Eyes specifically. That makes it the best Odd Eyes card. There you go. Next up is Yuri, and Yuri has gotten a lot of new support recently. I had to look at some recent tournaments, and mostly Genesis tournaments, because people aren't really trying the new Breath Plant stuff in a real deck yet. But, I mean, when I look at it, I do see the new cards, but every list has at least 2 copies of Dragos Stapelia. So Dragos Stapelia is absolutely the Predaplant card that is seeing the most play right now. It says a level 8 Dark Plant Fusion Monster. It is a fusion of 1 Fusion Monster plus 1 Dark Monster, and once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, place a Predator counter on it, and if it's level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1 as long as it has a Predator counter. Negate the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that have Predator counters. So this is just like a blanket negate that works really well in Predaplant since you have multiple ways to place Predator counters, and also it is a great super poly target, which Predaplants are obsessed with. So really solid card, will continue to be really good forever. Alright, next up is Yuto, and this is the only other Overframe card on the list, which is Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon of the 4 Heavenly Dragons, which I did not get the artwork for the Overframe for this card. Why didn't I do that? Okay. This is a rank 4 Dark Dragon Xyz monster. It is an Xyz summon of 2 level 4 Dark monsters. This card is always treated as the Phantom Knights card. If this card is special summon, you can target an equal number of cards on both players' fields and destroy them. So it pops 3 cards on your field, 3 cards on your opponent's field. Good. When your opponent activates a card or effect as a quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, special summon 1 rank 4 Dark Xyz monster from your extra deck. Using this card you control, this is treated as an Xyz summon, transfer this card's materials. You can only use each effect of Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon of the 4 Heavenly Dragons once per turn. So, this card, what can I say? There has been some new Phantom Knight support, but this card is absolutely crazy. It allows you to summon Evil Swarm Ophion. It allows you to summon Exosister Carmael. It allows you to completely ignore the material requirements of rank 4 Dark Xyz monsters and just summon them. And so, because Ophion is a floodgate, and because Carmael is an Omni-Negate, this has made Phantom Knights single-handedly come back. There are some other new Phantom Knight support cards that make them a little bit more consistent, but this is the power, and since this card has come out, Phantom Knights have gotten, I believe, 8 tops, which is crazy, because they didn't see any play before then for 2 years. So, yeah, I mean, what can I say? This card has revived Phantom Knights as a competitive deck in the OCG, which is insane. So obviously it has to be the best card in Yuto's deck. Next up is Yugo, and Yugo's ace monster is Crystal Clearwing over Synchro Dragon. I've played tons of Speedroids. This card is fantastic. It is a level 12 Wind Dragon Synchro monster that requires 2 or more tuners or 1 tuner Synchro monster plus Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So you can either use like a level 4 and a level 1 tuner monster and then Clearwing Synchro Dragon, or you can use a level 5 tuner Synchro monster and Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Must be synchro summoned, but not with its specific materials, so you can cheat this out with Crimson Dragon. Once per turn, when another card or effect is activated as a quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card, and if you destroyed a monster, this card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end of this turn. So it's basically a like a combination of Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon and Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, where it negates spells and traps and monster effects, and then it just also gains monster attack points. If this face-up Synchro Summon card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Clearwing monster from your extra deck. So that would allow you to then, go into Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon, or Clearwing Synchro Dragon, or Clearwing Fast Dragon. Get whatever negate that you want. And then the nice thing about this is there's also a trap card that allows you to banish this card from your field and then immediately return it to the field. This is a soft once per turn. So it is intentionally designed, along with the trap card, I believe the trap card is called Clearwing Wonder, for you to loop this card and get multiple Omni-Negates. And you can, of course, also, if you have a really good opening hand, you can summon 2 copies of this. So then you would be able to then, just have 3 Omni-Negates, along with the ability to float into another negate, from your extra deck. Really good card, not good enough to make Speedroids competitively viable, but it is definitely the best card in Speedroids. Next up is Zuzu Boyle, and Zuzu Boyle's ace monster is Flowering Etoile, the Melodious Magnificat, which is a level 8 light fairy fusion monster that is a fusion of 1 Melodious Meister monster plus 2 Melodious monsters. As a quick effect, you can banish until the end phase any number of Melodious monsters you control, then you can return up to that many face-up cards your opponent controls to the hand. So you can banish like 4 cards, and then all of your opponent's monsters get bounced back to the hand and doesn't target. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this face-up fusion summon card and its owner's control leaves the field because of its opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Melodious monster from your deck or your extra deck, except Flowering Etoile, the Melodious Magnificat, which is insane. It just lets you cheat out a fusion monster. So, I mean, it's not really a way to easily out this card. You either play into it and you get all your monsters sucked up, or you try and destroy it first and it will summon a different boss monster in its place. So, really good card, really solid, helps the fusion deck immensely. And Melodious was really good for a while when this card first came out. It has since been power crept. Next up is Selena. Selena's ace monster is Lunalight Liger Dancer, which is a level 12 Dark Beast Warrior fusion monster. That is a fusion of Lunalight Leo the Dancer plus 3 Lunalight monsters. Must be fusion summoned with the above fusion materials. Unaffected by card effects except Lunalight cards. Can make a second attack during each battle phase, and once per turn as a quick effect, you can send 1 Lunalight monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, destroy all of your opponent's special summon monsters. That is a soft once per turn effect, which means that you can use a second copy of Lunalight Liger Dancer in the same turn, which they do. You do special summon 2 copies of Lunalight Liger Dancer, then you pass, and your opponent has to try and beat over 2 300 attack towers while their board is getting cleared twice. It is impossible. This deck is insane. Lunalight's got second place at Worlds last year. They are still tier 3 in Master Duel at the moment. Absolutely crazy deck, very consistent, and this card will be insane in Duel Links as well. Next up is Lulu Obsidian. Sadly, Lulu has not gotten any new materials, so we have Lyrilisk Assembled Nightingale, which is a rank 1 Wind Winged Beast monster that requires 2 or more level 1 monsters. This card gains 200 attack points for each material attached to it. It can attack directly, and while it has material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can attach 1 material from this card. Until the end of the turn, Lyrilisk monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage. So, Just skip your opponent's turn by detaching a material, and then your turn, beat them to death. Pretty basic, pretty simple. You've seen Lyrilusc. Next up is Rin. Sadly, Wind Witch was never really intended to be a deck. It was more like a generic Wind Synchro engine. It played really well in Speedroids for a while until Speedroids got better cards. But as far as Wind Witch goes, they got nothing. So the original ace monster of this deck, Wind Witch Diamond Bell, is its current ace monster. It's a level 8 Wind Synchro monster that requires 1 tuner, plus 1 or more non-tuner Wind monsters. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can target 1 Wind Witch monster in your graveyard and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack points. You can only use this effect once per turn. And then, as a soft once per turn, if your opponent takes battle or effect damage, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. This effect can be used up to twice per turn if this card was Synchro Summoned using only Wind Witch monsters as a material. So, you burn your opponent, and then anytime your Wind Witch monsters burn your opponent, you could pop a card. Up to twice per turn. Really good. Really solid. I mean, Wind Witch is not like... Wind Witch is a Duel Links type deck, right? Like, it's a deck that's got, like, limited cards, so it feels pretty good in a low power format. Next up is Gong Strong, and Gong Strong's ace monster is Super Heavy Samurai Brave Masurawa, which is a level 12 Earth Machine Synchro monster that is a Synchro Summon of 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. It has 4,000 defense points. This card can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply its defense for damage calculation. If a Super Heavy Samurai monster you control will be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can destroy 1 Super Heavy Samurai card you control instead. And then once per turn, if your opponent activates a spell or trap card, or a spell or trap card effect, except during the damage step, you can draw until you have 3 cards in your hand, which is really nice. You can draw you some additional hand traps. So this card is nice because it does not explicitly require that you play no spells and traps. And this card sees play in Centurion, I believe, and a few other level 12 decks because it is a great target for Crimson Dragon. Like, you can't summon this card with Crimson Dragon, but you can summon it and then summon Crimson Dragon, and then Crimson Dragon can target it to summon a level 12 Synchro monster. So, pretty decent generic option since it draws you more hand traps. Alright, next up is Silvio Sawatari, and his ace monster is Abyss Actor Super Producer. I understand that Sawatari also played Monarchs. Screw you, he is an Abyss Actor player. This is a Link to Dark Fiend monster that requires 2 monsters, including a Fiend. And during your main phase as a quick effect, you can, during the main phase as a quick effect, you can target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, and then you can apply 1 of these effects. Either place 1 Abyss Playhouse Fantastic Theater from your deck face-up to your field zone, or place 1 Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your deck to your pendulum zone. You can only use each effect of Abyss Actor Super Producer once per turn. So it's a good card. It allows you to search your field spell and play it. And your field spell is a monster negate, basically. That also triggers your insane back row. So, I mean, Abyss Actors are not good, but Abyss Actors are not good not because of Super Producer is a good card, but because they lock themselves. So, once they give us more good Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters, or they just create some new starters that allow Abyss Actors to avoid the lock, then Abyss Actors will see play. Until then, they're not going to. Next up is Declan Akaba, and Declan Akaba's ace monster. I mean, Triple D gets a ton of support because they have so many locks that you have to give them good cards. Their ace monster is Triple D Sky King Zeus Ragnarok. I mean, I could pick like 8 different monsters for Triple D, but this is the best one. This is a Link 3 Dark Fiend monster. It requires 2 or more Double D monsters. You can target 1 Double D or Dark Contract card you control, destroy it. Also, during your main phase this turn, you can conduct 1 Pendulum Summon of Double D monsters in addition to your normal Pendulum Summon. You can only get this effect once per turn. So, Sky King Zeus Ragnarok gives you the ability to Pendulum Summon twice, which is insane. When your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand, as a quick effect, you can banish 1 Double D monster and 1 Dark Contract card from your graveyard, negate the activation. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it stops hand traps, which is also really good. Perfect card. This is how Double D can beat Nibiru. Obviously, you can also use Triple D Wave High King Caesar, but you would prefer not to. So this card's like a better out to Nibiru than that. Great. Next up is Sora Purse. Fright Furs have gotten nothing, so this is his ace monster, Fright Fur Cruel Whale, which is a level 9, yes, Water Fiend monster. It's fusion of Edge Imp monster plus a Fluffle monster. If this card is fusion summoned, you can destroy 1 card on both players' fields, which is use this card with Edge Imp Scythe, and then you summon it on your opponent's turn and pop their cards. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target 1 fusion monster you control, send 1 Fright Fur card from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, except Fright Fur Cruel Whale. If you do, the targeted monster gains attack equal to half its original attack until the end of this turn. Pretty nice, you know. It's not great, but I mean, it's from a different era, and in that era, this card was okay. Hopefully, Fright Furs get some new stuff soon. Next up is Shea Obsidian, and Shea Obsidian's ace monster is Raid Raptor Rising Rebellion Falcon, which is a rank 13 Xyz monster. There are only 2 rank 13 Xyz monsters in existence, and this is one of them. It is an Xyz summon of 5 level 13 Winged Beast monsters. It has 4,000 attack points and 3,500 defense points, and it is a Dark Winged Beast. Unaffected by other cards' effects. If this card is Xyz summon, you can destroy as many cards your opponent controls as possible. Then if this card has 3 or more Raid Raptor Xyz monsters with different names as material, inflict damage to your opponent equals to the combined original attack of those destroyed monsters, which can kill them, which is nice. Once per turn, you can detach 3 materials from this card, target one Raid Raptor Xyz monster in your graveyard, and this card gains that monster's effects until the end phase, which is hilarious. Fantastic card. You can summon this card during your opponent's turn with the Rising Rank Up Rebellion Force spell card, and you just pop everything your opponent controls and burn them for 8,000 damage and kill them. Solid. Alright, next up is Dennis McField, and Dennis McField's ace monster is Perform Mage Trapeze High Magician, which is a rank 5 light spellcaster monster that is a combine of 2 level 5 spellcasters. Yes, this is a rank up monster, but unlike the Baryons, Perform Mage does have a easy way to search their rank up magic spells, so that's fine. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects while it has material. Your opponent takes any effect damage you would have taken a number of times per turn up to the number of materials attached to this card. If this card has Perform Mage Trapeze Magician as material, it gains this effect. You can detach 1 material from this card. This card can make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase this turn, which is nice. Okay, so because this card reflects effect damage to your opponent, this card is only seen in FTKs. You deal 8,000 damage to yourself, and then since you have Trapeze High Magician, your opponent takes that damage instead, and you win the game. This is very, very easy to do. Much easier than dealing 8,000 damage to your opponent. It's really funny. Is it kind of sad that, Perform Mage is an FTK deck now? No. We have Volcanics, we have Gimmick Puppets. Konami is just printing FTKs at this point, so who cares? Good card. That is it for Arc V. Now we get into Reigns, and with Reigns we have Yusuke Fujiki. His ace monster is Firewall Dragon Singularity, which is a Link 6. There are barely any Link 6s in the game. I believe there's only 3 at this point. And Singularity is definitely the best one of them. Firewall Dragon Singularity is a Dark Cyberse Link monster that requires 3 or more effect monsters. It has 3,500 attack points. As a quick effect, you can target cards in your opponent's field and or graveyard up to the number of different card types, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz in your field and graveyard. Return them to the hand. Also, this card gains 500 attack points for each return card permanently. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, you can target one Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use each effect of Firewall Dragon Singularity once per turn. So this card can bounce 4 cards. It's a quick effect, bounce 4 cards your opponent controls. And then it also special summons any monster from your graveyard. So, fantastic card, really strong boss monster, enables all sorts of really good cards, and it can even enable a U-Link, because it points up, and there's no restriction on summoning to the zones it points to. So you could summon this card in your middle monster zone, and then you would then be able to legally link summon to both extra monster zones, and then your opponent cannot use the extra monster zones. So, just overall, a really strong, really good card, easily made in Firewall. And, yeah, nothing to say there. Next up is Theodore Hamilton, and his ace monster is Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. Salamangreat Raging Phoenix is a Link 4 Fire Cyberse monster that is a Link summon needing 2 or more Fire effect monsters. If this card is Link summoned using Raging Phoenix as material, you can add any Salamangreat card from your deck to your hand. If a face-up fire monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can target one of those monsters, special summon this card. If you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack points. You can only use each effect once per turn. Raging Phoenix searches Will of the Salamangreat, which is a continuous spell card that says once per turn, you can activate one of these effects, either target a Salamangreat card in your graveyard and special summon it, or you can target a Salamangreat Link monster you control, send Will of the Salamangreat to the graveyard, and if you do, you can special summon monsters from your graveyard equal to that monster's Link rating. So, you relink Salamangreat Raging Phoenix so you can revive 4 monsters, link all 4 of those monsters together to summon Pyro Phoenix, then pass to your opponent, and then you can relink Pyro Phoenix to blow up your opponent's entire field during their turn. Also, if for some reason your opponent summons a monster that you don't want to blow up the field, you can banish Promethean Princess. Sorry, you don't banish it. You can revive Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames from your graveyard by targeting your Raging Phoenix and your opponent's monster, pop them both. Then when Promethean comes back, you have 2 Raging Phoenixes in your graveyard because you linked one of them into the other one, so the one that you linked first is in the graveyard. When Raging Phoenix is destroyed, it comes back and gains 2,800 attack points, now has 5,600 attack points, and your opponent has to deal with that. And it's not easy. This deck's really good. Good card. Next up is George Gore, and George Gore's new ace monster is Goki the Tyrant Ogre, which is a level 8 Earth Warrior monster. It is a fusion of 1 Goki Link monster plus 1 Warrior, Dinosaur, or Cyberse monster. If this card battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step, and if this card is fusion summoned, you can target cards on the field up to the total link rating of Goki Link monsters that use this card as material. And if you used a Link 3 or higher monster, neither player can activate those targeted cards or their effects in response to this effect's activation and destroy them. You can only use this effect once per turn. So Goki has a Link 2 monster, Goki Sheik Ogre, which can fusion summon once per turn. So you summon Goki Sheik Ogre, then you Link summon another Link 3 monster, then you use Goki Sheik Ogre's effect, you summon, that's a Link 5, basically. A Link 2 and a Link 3. Summon Tyrant Ogre, target 5 of your opponent's cards, your opponent can activate them, pop them all, and then attack your opponent directly. It's just, yeah. Goki is just a blind second deck that kills people. This card makes it really, really easy. Good card. Next up is Sky Zyzen, and Sky Zyzen's ace monster is Marincess Aqua Argonaut, which is a Link 4 Water Cyberse monster. It has 2,300 attack points. It requires 2 or more water monsters. Your opponent's monsters cannot attack other monsters while this card is in the extra monster zone. You can only use each of the following effects of Marincess Aqua Argonaut once per turn. You target 1 water monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls and return them to the hand. When a spell or trap card or effect is activated on the field during your opponent's turn as a quick effect, you can special summon one of your Marincess monsters that is equipped to this card. If you do, negate the activated effect. It's important to note that Marincess has access to a card called Crystal Heart, which is a Link 2 monster. And if you use that monster in the extra monster zone as material to link summon a Marincess monster card, that Marincess monster card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects while you have the field spell Marincess Battle Ocean on the field. So Aqua Argonaut usually will have somewhere around, I don't know, I think it's about 3,200 attack points because of the field spell. And then she's unaffected, she's a spell and trap negate, and she also special summons your Link monsters from your back row, and your opponent can't attack anything but her. It's a very basic deck, but it is very consistent and very useful. The main reason that Marincess doesn't see play is because they don't have a lot of extenders, so if their normal summon gets stopped or destroyed, they don't really have a lot of options to Link summon afterwards. They do have Link 1s, but they really can't handle their normal summon being interrupted. So because of that, the deck is not consistent enough. And unsurprisingly, most water support in the game is not Cyberse, so it does not work out too well for them. But, a dedicated Marincess deck can still be very good. I have lost to it before, and I imagine those cards will be decent in Duel Links. Next up is Roken Kogami, and Roken Kogami's ace monster is Boral End Dragon. Boral End Dragon is a Link 5 Dark Dragon monster that has 3,500 attack points. It requires 3 or more effect monsters. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and also neither player can target this card with monster effects. So that's really good protection. It's just really, really hard to out this card. Can't be destroyed by battle, by card effects, can't be targeted by monster effects. Your opponent has to spell and trap this, or they are just not gonna get over it. Can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. As a quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster on the field and 1 rocket monster in your graveyard. Negate the effects of that monster on the field. If you do, special summon the other monster from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. So this is really good. It is not a, it's not like a, it negates the effects of a card, but it can't negate activations. But what's nice is, because your opponent can't activate in response, you can just target a card your opponent summons that has an effect that has to be activated, and then negate that card's effects before they have the opportunity to activate it. And then they're just negated. So then you can just bring back your Boral, like one of your rocket monsters, and use it as material to shoot off with Boral Shroud Dragon, which is another Link 5 that says you can destroy one of your rocket monsters to negate a face-up card your opponent controls. So, like, this is a monster negate, and then you have an Omni negate, and you combine the two, and you're just unstoppable. Really, 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 really good deck. Very consistent. Has a lot of one-card combos. Check out my video on it. And Boral End Dragon is just amazing. Next up is Spectre. Spectre's ace monster is Sun Avalon Dryas, which is funny to say, but, I mean, there's a meme in the Duel Links community, which is that, like, if your opponent normal summons Sunseed Genus Loci, they win the game. And it is solely because of this card. So, Sun Avalon Dryas is a Link 1 plant Link monster that requires 1 level 4 lower plant monster. If this card is Link summoned in the extra monster zone using Sunseed Genus Loci as material, you can add 1 Sunvine Sowing from your deck to your hand. This card cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Once per turn, if you take no battle or effect damage, you gain that much life points, and if you do, special summon 1 Sunvine monster from your extra deck. Basically, you summon this card, you draw your Sunvine Sowing, and that starts a chain of events that leads to an unbreakable, unstoppable plant Link board. If you are interested, I have a 1-hour video showing you all the Sunseed Genus Loci combos you can do. You can look that up on my channel. But yeah, I mean, Dryatrentier, Dryades, Dryas is where it's at. This is the best card. Next up is Emma Bichot, and Emma Bichot's ace monster is Altergeist Adminia. This requires 2 or more Altergeist monsters. It is a dark Link 4 spellcaster with 3,000 attack points. If this card is Link summoned, you can set 1 Altergeist trap directly from your deck, which means it can't be ashed, which is really nice. Once per turn, while this card is faced upon the field during the main phase, you can send 1 card you control to the graveyard, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, take control of that target, and if you do, it is also treated as an Altergeist monster forever. Good card. You can use it as Link material, you can contribute it for your Altergeist Hextia, just an overall solid option to remove your opponent's stuff. Next up is Akira Zyzen, and Akira Zyzen's ace monster is Tindangle Acute Cerberus. Tindangles have basically not been touched at all since they released. This is a Link 3 Fiend monster, dark with 0 attack points, requires 3 Tindangle monsters, gains 3,000 attack points if you have 3 or more Tindangle monsters with different names in your graveyard, including Tindangle Base Gardener. Gains 500 attack points for each Tindangle monster it points to. At the end of the battle phase of this card declared an attack, you can special summon 1 Tindangle token. Tindangles see no play. Card's not good, but it is the best card in Tindangles. And that is it. There you go. Thank you very much for sticking around. 2 hours. I appreciate it. If you made it this far in the video, please tell me your favorite ace monster from this list. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all you with me.